Welcome to our newly rebranded gaming podcast, the Press Start podcast. And this week I am here with my good co-host on episode 1, Roger
Hey guys, how you doing today?
and Miko.
Yo, what's going on?
What's going on is the question, man. Where have we been? It's been about a month, right?
Yeah, it has been a crazy month, dude. I
Yeah.
I got my COVID vaccine. I got my second
There you
dose
go.
scheduled. How
There
about
you
you
go.
guys?
Been a lot going on, honestly. Obviously,
Uh,
moving
yeah.
back, as you can tell, I'm in a new room, little setup going on right now. Been traveling back and forth between South Carolina and here,
Mhm.
and this week was in Nashville too.
I saw those pictures. That was awesome.
Yeah, that shit was tough, bro. Like, oh man, I can't wait to tell that story about some stories here in a second. But Roger, man, how you been?
Pretty good. Playing a lot of games. I finally got one of my goals on WoW done. I got ahead of the curve, which means I beat the boss on the second difficulty for the raid this expansion for WoW. Been playing some of the new Stellaris that just dropped. They released their new expansion called Nemesis. Add a lot of new features, so that's been pretty cool. Other than that, enjoying the heat that came and went real fast.
Yeah,
It was snowing today, if you heard.
Oh my
It
gosh.
snowed over in York today.
no, it was great. Like literally, because I didn't work until 12, but Grandma went in at 10 o'clock or whatever. So she left the house by like 9. And when I got there, and she was like, "So it's still snowing when you when you left work?" And I was like,
It
"Snowing?
snowed.
It snowed where?"
Yeah, my boss messaged me. He goes, "Hey, just so you know, it's snowing, so shit's about to go. Shit's about to go tits up at work." And I was like, "Oh, great."
Nah.
Oh no.
But
Insane.
Roger, you been bettering yourself at all in the last
Yeah,
month?
I
Or?
actually just bought a bike and I
There
started
you go.
riding that, but I'm waiting till it
What
gets
kind of
back
bike
up
you
in it.
get?
I just got a mountain bike. No, nothing special. Just
What brand?
I can't even remember the brand. It's just an
Oh, damn.
off-brand.
Come on.
It's not
Nah, it's
even a
okay.
big brand or anything. But
Yeah.
yeah, I grabbed a bike for about 350. I was planning to get one just for
Not a big
myself.
brand. What the fuck?
Uh,
350.
for a mountain bike, they're like all that price, 250 to
No,
350. Yeah.
I got
solid
I got
price.
I got a mongoose from Target for like a buck 40.
Okay. Yeah, no, I guess I went to Dick's for mine.
Hmm.
And so I got it for like 350. It was a nice bike. Jordan ended up getting a bike too, even though she vowed not to ride a bike ever again. And I was like, okay.
Hey,
So
she's willing to try it, so
no,
that's not bad.
exactly. So
No, yeah,
she's
but like I said, we could definitely get a ride, and I have a bike rack. I can't fit
hmm
more than 2 bikes, but
once it gets warmer, I also want to go play some disc golf too.
oh hell yeah! Which we got to drag Miko out there eventually.
Yeah, I can say I'll probably be okay at disc golf, honestly, because I always like frisbee and ultimate frisbee and stuff like that.
hmm
So I can imagine I got the arm for it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely something different. And like that next day, you're gonna be feeling it all in your chest because you're like,
Yeah.
because you're gonna whip some of them frisbees, man, and they're not
Yeah.
like regular frisbees. They're pretty
no.
weighted.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
What about you, Meek? How you been?
I've been good, man. I haven't really had much time to be on the game too much, sadly. But nah, yeah,
yeah.
just a lot of transitions. Starting a new job in May, so I'm trying
Yeah,
to end this month strong
congrats.
here with my current company and whatnot.
hmm
A little step up, a little more hourly, a better comp structure and
hmm
stuff like that. So yeah, it's really exciting.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
yeah, as well as been looking for a new place. We
Looking to get a house or an apartment?
apartment.
Okay.
Definitely. We're probably going to rent for another year or two, but then, yeah, definitely. I mean, we're constantly, looking into homes and stuff like that. Well, not, too intensely, of course. There's still
Yeah.
some time, but I mean, it's definitely something in the very near future.
Once you found your partner, settling down in a house is the only way to really generate wealth anymore,
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
it's so hard.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, right now,
it's
right
a
now is the
super
perfect time to buy.
process. Yeah,
yeah,
no, oh my gosh.
the interest loans I got, my home interest loan was the cheapest my real estate lawyer had ever seen in his life. I got it close to almost 3%.
Yeah,
So
shit.
That's
Yeah,
that's
like
it's
my student loans are
3%. That's
six.
yeah. I was gonna
Yeah.
say yeah, 3% has
Like,
been like the magic number, like this
yep.
whole pandemic for these. It's
Yep.
crazy.
And so they were still dropping. Now I think they're starting to go back up, but you want to catch them
Yeah,
soon.
yeah,
yeah,
for
for
sure.
sure. But you said you haven't been gaming much, so have you been working on yourself, bettering on yourself?
No, yeah, absolutely. Just yeah, I was gonna say we recently got a new puppy as well, Weimaraner.
Hey,
Yeah,
what's the name?
she's a rascal though. Ash is her name.
Okay,
AFHE. Yeah, yeah, she's
there you go.
beautiful though. Yeah, she has blue eyes, silver,
What
and
kind of dog?
Weimaraner.
Okay, I thought that was the name. I know you
I
messed
thought,
up.
I was like,
Nah,
what the hell dog is that?
absolutely
All right.
not. It's a European hunting dog. It's,
Okay.
yeah, they're real. They're
Okay.
really. She's really different. She's not like
Mhm.
an ordinary pup. It's real. She takes a lot of attention for sure. She's like a
Yeah.
kid. I feel like full time dad.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, man, it's been awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's what's up, man.
So
That's
what's
what's
new
Yeah.
with
up.
you, Vic?
As I said, I'm back here in PA now, so it's good to be back.
Mhm.
Definitely miss hanging out with family and friends. That's part of the reason why I feel like I haven't had a break since I have moved back. Since
Mhm.
I mean, I've been working nonstop, been hanging out with people nonstop. It feels good to be back.
No, it
Just
makes sense.
missed it. But I probably could say I've been gaming. Probably it sounds like a little bit more than Miko. I've been playing a little bit of Warzone here and there, but I've been trying to dive in. I've been actually playing more games on my plate than I normally do because I usually
Mhm.
like to stick to like one game at a time. But right now, literally, I mean, I told y'all I beat Immortals Phoenix Rising, so that's done. I just started Outriders. That game intro had me like draw to the floor, like what the fuck, like
Mhm.
this is gonna be a dope ass game. So I'm ready to get into that. I only played about an hour of that,
Okay.
but the other game I've been playing is Tell Me Why, which is more of that novel walkthrough game. It's really good. It really seems like a movie, and it's really
Mhm.
crazy. Just to give you like a quick synopsis without spoiling anything, but like the whole thing is like one of the main characters is a transgender, and like the mom couldn't take it and didn't know how to handle it, and then she tried to kill her kid,
Oh,
and
wow.
your twin actually ends up killing him, saves you, blah blah blah, and it just kind of goes from there. But
Mhm.
it's actually it's a really crazy story, and
It's
it's
more
really
of
good.
a story-driven game than an action game.
Super, yeah. There's no action. There's no like, oh, I got to time this correctly. Like, no, you just
It's
walk
just a
around.
visual novel.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly, and it's really good. It has me hooked. I'll be putting out hopefully a review soon on that because I still have a couple other
Mhm.
reviews. But the medium, I'm still trying to play that. That's been pretty cool. I just had to get through the beginning part of the game is really slow and it seems outdated and old.
Mhm.
Once I got through that, it picks up. It gets really good.
Okay.
Started the Little Nightmares 1 because the Little Nightmares 2 just dropped back in February, so I've been trying to
Yeah.
get through that game. Um,
Little
what other?
Nightmares. That game, watching gameplay on that, is so hilarious. Like
Mhm.
it
Yeah,
seems
it's
awesome.
weird. It's weird. It's fun and it's different. It's really it's a unique game, honestly. And another game I tried out was Prey. I never played that game back 2016. It's a Bethesda game,
Yeah.
and it's really interesting. And that one, a lot of fucking jump scares because the anomalies or whatever they are in the game, the enemies, they're like they could be anything. They could be a fucking coffee cup. They can be a whiteboard, and they just
Yeah.
you get close to them, they go, "Phew," and you're like, oh shit. So it's just like, oh damn, like it's not scary. It's just like the jump scares get you for
Yeah.
sure. You're not expecting it.
No, yeah.
But I do want to talk about the Nashville trip real quick. Just how shit can get real at any given moment, and no
Mhm.
matter where you're at, right? So we're all down there having a good time, bachelor party. We're at the Yeehaw Brewery. You may have heard of it. It's really popular, and they also have the Old Smoke distillery there.
Mhm.
And we're having a good time, whatever. And next, we see cops and ambulances pull up. We're like, "What the hell's going on?" And like, we're just walking around, fucking see a dead body
Oh, jeez.
right right at the front at the like soon as like to get into the place, and
Mhm.
apparently it was a homeless dude that got slit throated by another homeless dude down the street, and the
The
guy like ran
fuck?
up here to seek help, and he like collapsed and died like right there on the scene, and
Jesus
you could just
Christ.
yeah, you could see the dead body and everything, and just
Yo,
blood everywhere. It was
what?
like something that you see in a movie, and I was like, oh my god. And we're kind of drunk at this point already,
Yeah,
obviously,
I
and
was
it's
gonna
just
Yeah.
like,
say,
fuck,
yeah,
that killed the whole buzz and everything. We were like, fuck, man, we got to get out of here. Like, they
Yeah.
shut the whole thing down, but it was a great place. Yeehaw Brewery, a lot of fun. They had basketball courts, cornhole boards, ping
Mhm.
pong, fucking old arcade machines in there, so you can get in there, play NBA Jam. So it was a lot of fun. Other than that incident,
Yeah,
but
it's
yeah, it was
insane.
crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
no. It-
Yeah, that can definitely shift the morale.
yeah, for sure, for sure. But let's get into some let's get into some good stuff here now. So
Yeah.
gaming news this week, guys. We'll start off here with something interesting that we kind of talked about before with Ko-
mhm.
it's Kojima in talks with Xbox because it was on that his statue was on Phil Spencer's shelf
Yeah.
in one of his recent views. Well, this seems like a reality.
Yeah.
Kojima is apparently is in talks with Microsoft about producing his next game and
Mm.
funding him. So, were you guys fans of his productions, like his games and stuff?
So I liked early Kojima.
Yeah.
Newer stuff has been kind of Warhol-esque, like, it's like it's art.
Yeah, right.
All right.
It's art is in the eye of the beholder. And the game was a little I don't know. Don't know what to expect. There was a lot of hype, so I'm hoping that maybe he might. But then again, it is Kojima, and he delivers some weird ass games.
Always has.
But so I think definitely I would be interested to see what he develops, but I'm not hopeful for anything crazy.
Hmm. No, yeah, for sure. It'd be interesting though to see if Microsoft can find a way to get the rights to Metal Gear and allow him to create another Metal Gear game.
Probably
That
not
Yeah,
going to
hell
happen.
yeah.
like
That'd
Metal
be
Gear was always a good series. Like
Yeah.
great.
even when he was no longer part of it for five, I think he was that was the point where he
Hmm.
was no longer like five was like a it wasn't a bad game, but it wasn't like the
Amazing.
beginning
It
one
wasn't
to like
amazing,
two and three. It wasn't Metal Gear two and three like when it peaked.
but it definitely had callbacks, which was nice.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, of course. I mean, you got to have those in there, just a part of
like
the series and give
like one of
nods.
my favorites is the cardboard box still exists, and you know, like
Yeah.
it wasn't a story driven game, it was a mission driven game, and it was like repeating the same missions over and over again, it felt like at times. So I definitely did have my issues with the
Hmm.
game, but I think his earlier games were a lot better. I just
Hmm.
think he needs a good design studio behind him to deliver an actual good content for his
Right.
story.
Right. And I think with Microsoft, given the fact that they have 23 studios now, like I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure you could pair
Yeah.
him and his little crew up with one of these massive
Hmm.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
companies that produce a really good game.
Definitely.
What kind of game would you guys want to see from him? Would you want him to stick to his horror roots and maybe do like a Silent Hill or like a game like that, or would you want him to try and do like more of like a stealth game?
Um, I don't know. I can't even really think what I'd like to see. I honestly would just like to see what he would do, really. Like, just give him free reins and see what happens. Cause
Yeah. I mean, look at Death Stranding. Death Stranding was one of those like, let's see what he can make.
yeah,
And
like,
it was a game that succeeded. It was a game
hmm
that critically succeeded, but commercially it didn't.
yeah, like honestly, looking at Kojima's past games, there's not many that stick out other than Metal Gear to me. Like
Yeah.
I only really know him from Metal Gear, and there's a lot of those games, but like I don't think he would be a really good. I think he's more psychological, kind of deep thinking,
Hmm.
like beyond deep thinking. He's like almost like one of those uh I'd have to say one of those. Yeah, he's a wild card, definitely, Sammy. But he's
Yeah, but he's also still one of the best creators in
yeah, he
gaming
he
industry.
almost feels like Illuminati videos where they're like, just random things. They're like there's 7 letters in this word and 7 is a lucky number, and like that's what it feels like with his storytelling. He's just like drawing weird ass conclusions, and he's like, always sunny in Philadelphia, kind of like bored. He's just like, here is the answer. Like, no, man, that's a little bit of a
No, yeah.
stretch. But I definitely think he could bring a lot of money to Microsoft with the game,
Hmm. Without
and
a
I
doubt.
and I think right now he's going after the Japanese market, who kind of shunned him, and I
Mhm.
think he's really trying to ram one into him.
Right, right. And honestly, that Microsoft is seeking the help
Hmm.
and push into the Japanese market because,
Yeah.
Yeah.
as we all know, Xbox the consoles sell terribly
Yeah.
in Japan.
Hmm.
Like there's really no need. They're big on PlayStation, they're big on Nintendo, and the mobile gaming market is huge over there.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
for sure.
for another game console like Xbox, which
and
has always been hard,
and
Yeah.
that's the
but
thing. Like
this
he's made mobile games before. Like he's made games for
Mhm.
the Game Boy Advance, and he's
Mhm.
made
Yeah.
a few for the. I think some of his games ended up on PSP. So he
Right,
has games that could definitely be made for a mobile market, but Microsoft really doesn't have that big of a mobile market right now.
right. Well,
So
it's going to be interesting because like it's
Yes, it
another
is.
topic that we're
yeah,
actually going to transition
Up
to
and
now. Is
coming. They're
yeah,
forging,
exactly.
buying all those companies and stuff like that, Bethesda and stuff, and this like they're just
Hmm.
building that capacity to push that forward.
No, I agree.
right, right.
So it's definitely
Because
interesting.
you were talking about the mobile market. Our next topic here is to actually talking about Xbox cloud streaming, which is coming
Hmm.
to PC. And what it's also the primary thing is here is iOS devices
Yeah,
because of the whole finasco thing they have with Apple, where you can't have an app on there because then
yeah,
they want parts of each game and money and stuff like that.
yeah.
It's a really messed up system. That's
So
obviously that's
well,
one of the reasons
and
why Fortnite's going to
and
quit.
Apple's actually getting in trouble for shit. This is something I didn't put out there, but Apple's actually getting sued now because they're selling movies and shit. They're trying to make a ton of money off their digital marketplace, even though they can't sell you the rights to things. They're selling rights to things. They're like, we sold you a movie. No, you didn't sell me the movie. You sold me the rights to watch it. So long as you have the license. As soon as Apple loses the license to the movie, even though I bought the movie from you, I can't watch it.
Yeah, that's a pretty messed up thing. I hope they get that all figured out. But Microsoft said, "Screw
Yeah.
you, Apple. We're just going to take the back door. We're going to make a web browser based system where
Mhm.
you can just stream games through that." That is going to be the future. Like that's and the thing is, what Microsoft is doing better than I thought Google Stadia is Google Stadia when they first did it. This is what's going to replace your gaming system. This is how you're going to game in the future. And Microsoft has created this to be a supplementary thing. Like,
That's.
oh, let me stop on like great example. Paris Lilly said it on Gamertag Radio, and he was like talking about how he plays. He's a huge Destiny 2 fan,
Mhm.
and it, there's that vendor that stops by like once a week, Zur or whatever, and you can get exotic weapons or quests
Yeah.
or whatever. And he's like, when I go on vacation or something like that, and I'm like, shit, I forgot to stop by and buy my items and stuff from him. I can just hop right on my phone real quick
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
buy. Like,
No,
it's
it's.
really nice to have that.
Yeah, I agree. It'll definitely be nice, but I don't know if it's the complete future. I think it's just an expansion of the market because
Mhm.
I bet people like myself, we're not going to give up the fact that we have our consoles. It's going to play
Mhm.
better on my console anyway, for the most part. Because
Right.
you're dealing with bandwidth and throttling, and we're never going to get to good bandwidth, especially in the U.S.
Yeah, the way it's going.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
But
but we
what's
have
your
a later
thoughts, Meek?
topic.
What's your thoughts, Meek? Like, wouldn't it be nice to play fucking Warzone at a party or something? You know,
Yeah, no, yeah. No, I was never
on
really
your
a
phone.
mobile. I was never really a mobile gaming type of guy. I'd see it more so benefit for the accessibility of PC players and stuff like that. Because yeah,
And I think
'cause
younger markets.
yeah, absolutely, yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely they own the new generations. Because yeah, my I got a fucking
I didn't grow up
like
with a tablet. I grew up with a Game Boy. So
yeah, I was
like,
gonna say, yeah,
I
I have
wasn't
like
used to
nieces and
playing.
nephews that just, just fully know how to operate an iPad and shit like that. And you're like,
Mhm.
what, 2 years old? It's
Yeah.
just, yeah,
So it's
yeah, becoming
definitely
embedded.
it's definitely approaching a market that's definitely up and coming. I
Yeah,
don't think the market's as valuable to us as it is to the generations after us.
Mhm.
yeah,
The
word.
ones that, take the tablet and shut the hell up. That
Right.
generation.
And another way to look at it is think about it is a lot of people, most people have a phone, right? But not everybody has a console.
Mhm.
And some people can't afford a console. So this is like Miko said about having accessibility is this allows people to get into the gaming market, play Xbox game,
Yeah.
get into the Xbox ecosystem
Yeah,
without ever owning a console. And I think that's huge. Like
Yeah,
even
I agree.
say the family has like a family iPad. Yeah, my man can go play Forza or Halo right on a tablet.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
that to me, that's pretty awesome for
yeah,
somebody that can't have a console and
Yeah.
experience it to
Yeah,
be able
I
to get
agree.
into it at a really much cheaper price.
No, I
yeah,
agree. I'm expecting you to get degraded service from not being able to play on a console and stuff like that, but I
Mhm.
expect it's definitely going to be a way for people to get into the market though. It's
yeah,
definitely a way for the future. I don't know if I would personally use it, but I know there
Right.
are people out there that definitely would, because I've seen
Mhm.
people play Minecraft like crazy or Fortnite like crazy out there on
Yeah.
tablets and shit. So
Yeah,
there's
I
a
don't know how
market
to do
for
it,
it.
but yeah, it's definitely nice to have, and I think it's if you're huge in if you're traveling a lot
Mhm.
too, I think it'll be another benefit too. Because like if you're not able to
Yeah,
game that much on your console, take it to go, sit at the airport and play. Like
yeah.
their Wi-Fi is usually
Yeah.
good enough for you to run those games.
Yeah, I think the detriment falls especially in things like plane travel, for example, like when you're on the plane. Like
Yeah, I
I've
don't
been
know.
on 7-hour flights. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be able to play the game on my phone, but I definitely could play it on my Switch. That's what I did when I went to Aruba. That's
Right.
what I did when I went to England and traveled Ryanair and shit. I had my 3DS. I bought a 3DS just for my study abroad
Yeah.
trip.
That works. That works.
But um, so talking about Microsoft here, I'm glad to hear that Discord is ending their talks with Microsoft. I'm so happy because I got to admit, I think Discord merging with Microsoft, I think was going to be a mistake because look what they did with Skype.
Yeah, right. And
Yeah.
it's just
Well,
like, this I feel like Discord kind of realized their worth after they
Yeah,
got that offer from Xbox. I think three other companies, counter offered and stuff like that.
yeah.
They're probably just like, whoa, wait a
Wait,
second.
we're worth money? Wait, what? Yeah, they don't I don't
Yeah.
think they
They've
completely realized how they
they've
monopolized the market.
they've doubled in the last year.
Yeah.
They came from 70 million to like
right.
I think it was 140 million users. It's
Yep.
insane capacity. So it's just like the outlook
Right.
is,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
definitely got
both
to
you
up that
guys
price
are.
tag.
Seems like both of you guys are excited that this is not happening. I'm
Yeah.
in the other boat here, and I'm kind of upset
No, I'm
because.
not excited, but I'm kind of excited for Discord for
Mhm.
not being
Yeah.
bought out and not
Which
whatnot. But I mean,
to
because
touch on that part before I touch on the
Mhm.
why I think it's a bad thing that happened, but
yeah,
good thing for Discord is Discord's going to go into an ISP, so
yeah,
there's going to be investors that go in it. They because like you said, they didn't realize how much that they're actually worth.
yeah,
And $10 billion on the table makes you really think about it. Like, fuck.
yeah, exactly.
But that's also a hard decision. Like you didn't know you were worth $10 billion. You could have
Yeah,
been like, all right, cool, $10 billion, sign me
yeah,
up because that's a lot of money thrown at you. Like
Yeah.
that's the three commas right there. So it makes you think. But then it also then you got the other side. You're like, damn, like are we worth more than $10 billion?
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's the route
remember,
that they're
they
going.
are. That's the thing. They're worth more than that because that's what they're
absolutely.
getting paid with the thought of future investment and growth. So
Yeah,
with growth in mind, that's their if Microsoft, this big company that's been around and worth, billions of dollars, if they're going to just drop that many G's on the table,
Yeah,
you've got long-term investment potential.
hmm
yeah, exactly. And that's why they're going to enter the
Yeah.
market with ISP. It's going to be a publicly traded,
Yeah.
and we're going to be buying stocks of them here soon, no
yeah,
doubt.
Yeah.
But to go on the reason why I think this is negative though is the Xbox is pushing for the initiative of like cross play gaming and
Yeah.
finding a way to have a communication
Well,
without using game chat
and
because
that's the
we
thing.
all know game chat is awful.
hmm
Partner with them. They could definitely partner with them, and I think it wouldn't ruin the issue. It wouldn't ruin it at
Hmm.
all. If
yeah,
Discord became, instead of them leaning into Team Skype stuff, they leaned into Discord for their gaming channels, they could definitely partner with Discord.
yeah,
Yeah,
for
no, that
sure.
What's
I think
stopping them?
I think all three game companies are going to have to partner, find a way to if they're pushing this crossplay, like yeah, game chat's there, and I know that that's what they're going to say. Just use game chat, but like we all know how terrible game chat is.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, it sucks on PC.
No, for sure. No, yeah. Companies outright say, and advocate how good Discord's, communication channels are. And it's just like super crisp, super clear.
Well, it took the best of all the worlds of chat communication.
Yeah,
It made chat rooms, which is huge. It takes the chat, it takes the ideas of like forums and stuff. It combines all the best things that you want, features from all these different websites and uh, and things that people enjoy about
yeah,
Skype or Teams or
Right,
you know
yeah.
that's
right,
what
because
Discord is.
yeah,
Or
Discord's
8chan.
bigger. Yeah, Discord's bigger than chat. Discord is like
Yeah,
a community for people.
it's a
Like you could
community
join
hub.
things. It's not even just for gaming.
Hmm.
Like you could join them for anything.
Yeah,
Book clubs, cryptocurrencies, stocks, like
Hmm.
real estate. Like there's literally if you could think of it, it'll be in there.
Hmm.
There's always a
for
Discord
sure.
group for everybody, and it's also another way for platforms to be able to connect. with their
Yeah.
audience too. Like we can eventually open up our Discord channel to invite
Yeah, and
our
that's
to it
my
as well.
plan eventually. I was going to bring up too is that's where people engage their communities. There are tons of streamers I watch them on, and they actually go into their Discord and they just start connecting with their community. They
Mhm.
lock down one section and then they give everyone else free reign on the other sections, and they
Yeah.
come in and out and they use that as a way of reaching out to their community.
Right, and I agree here with Catechris. Like you can even use it personally as
Yeah.
a they're saying they're using it as a private journal, to do list, like a save
hmm
stuff. Like you could use it with for everything and anything.
I
And I
use it as
think
a wiki for tabletop gaming. I track, I'm building an entire campaign in D&D, and I use that to track every part of it, from
yeah,
notable characters to items to player biographies.
yeah, I think
However you want to develop it.
yeah, for sure. But another thing though in the Xbox news is this
hmm
is great. Finally, that happened. We've already talked about this before, but Xbox is dropping so you don't no longer need your subscription to Xbox Live to play free to play games.
Yeah.
hmm
Now they came out there like free to play games mean free to play games. Like you don't
Mhm.
have to
Yeah.
have a subscription. That's huge. And the fact that Halo Infinite, which drops later this year, its multiplayer will be free to play. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
hmm
And that's going to get people into, like, if they never played Halo before, check it out. It's going to be all over.
Yeah.
If you're in gaming, like it's going to be probably one of the most talked about games. Whether it flops, whether it does good, it's going to be in gaming news, whether we like it or not. OMG, cat. Yes,
yeah. He's just
hit
sitting
that
at
up.
me.
Hit,
I was sitting here and I just hear scratching, and I look over and he's just staring at me, and he jumped in my lap earlier and was just hanging out.
but what are you guys' thoughts still on this with the dropping of the subscription for free to
I
play?
think I think it's a step in the right direction, because if they can learn anything from PC that does it right first, it's if you have the internet and it's
Here's
a
my
free to play game, why I like you're not relying on, like, I get you're kind of relying on Xbox Live to connect to that community and be able to play the game. So I get that they're trying to charge to keep the infrastructure and backbone of the stuff running, but at the same time, it's a free to play game. If you're trying to engage that community, that's where you put it in front of them, and that helps you draw in more customers.
Yeah.
I think that's the big issue here. Like, put the onus on the creator of the game to really build the backbone.
Yeah.
right, and I think this will be huge too because there are free to play games even on Game Pass.
hmm
I mean, granted, you would still have to have Game Pass to play them, but like I don't because
But
you can
then,
buy Game Pass
but
separately
not have
from
Xbox Live.
Xbox.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can buy that separately. So like it all plays in a part. Like there's different ways if you don't want to have it. The only thing you play is free to play games. Because I know people who really only buy the console just to play Fortnite.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy to think about, but people really do that. Or like people do it all the time. I only bought a console to play a Call of Duty. Only play Madden. Only play 2K. But those ones are not free to play. But Call of Duty, I'm glad it entered a
I
free
bought
to
it
play.
just to play Halo. Stuff like that. Exactly.
Yeah, and then once you're in, you're like, oh, maybe let me try this or try that. Like it's a definitely a snowball
I
effect.
think it's definitely going to be a huge step in the right direction. They're going to
Mhm.
probably lose a little bit of money, but not very much in the grand scheme of things, I don't think.
Mhm.
So,
I was definitely going to say something similar. It's for sure. I feel like they're just, Microsoft's emphasis on accessibility, just, making stuff, things easier for the consumer. And it just, it would like you said, in the grand scheme of things, in the long run, just bring that,
yeah.
extra excess of players.
And not only that, if they take the hit and the cost on the front end, they
Yeah.
can definitely reap it in the back end, because they're going to kill out their competition.
Yeah. Right.
Sony's
Exactly.
going to be like,
That's it.
sorry, you need a Sony subscription to do. You're going to need the the PSN or PlayStation Network subscription to play online.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll just get an Xbox that's cheaper, and now it's free to play Fortnite online.
Yeah.
But no, but PlayStation always had free to play. Like
Yeah.
if it was free to
I
play,
was gonna
you
say.
never needed
So
PlayStation
yeah,
Network.
I feel like it's
Yeah,
just a matter of Xbox is like starting to turn into a world where they're not nickel and dime anymore. It's just
No,
that's what a
no,
lot
and
of companies are starting to do. Verizon, for example.
right.
yeah,
Yeah, but Xbox is definitely way more consumer friendly. As
Yeah,
definitely as of late, way more than even Sony or Nintendo.
yeah.
Nintendo makes you buy the same game 47 different times. Like, hey, it's on this console now. Hey, it's on this console now.
yeah,
But you got to buy it
Yeah.
full price
And
every
if
single
you
time.
buy it on their digital store on one console, it doesn't work for another console.
Exactly.
Yep.
So Nintendo and
Yeah.
Sony are definitely way behind on this game preservations,
Well,
but
and that's the
there's
thing.
nothing.
Their markets are going to eat that shit up no matter what, though.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
they're
it's
Yeah,
already.
but
crazy.
eventually it's going to run out.
Yeah.
Eventually, that has to run out.
Eventually, yeah. Eventually, the competition's going to get to them, and they're gonna be like, if we want to keep up with them, people are leaving us for this reason.
Yeah. Now they're just gonna start making freaking virtual chambers or something. Like, is this something? I'm ready just for the next level that they're just gonna do with gaming. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, like you guys say, it's gonna reach that point where
Hmm.
something's gotta make that advance.
No, I agree.
Right, exactly.
But
But let's go to the other side of the pond here of
yeah.
Xbox. We're talking about Sony now. Sony's been going through, I think, a rough patch ever since definitely PS5 has been out. They did recently announce that they were shutting down the PS3 and the Vita store, and then so much backlash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what
Uh,
are you doing? You're like, oh, okay, maybe we shouldn't because how much money do you think a lot of those PlayStation owners invested in digital content? And now you're about to shut down their store, and you're like, yep, can't do it no more.
yeah.
You have no more
And
access to
that's the
those games.
thing. And that's that right there. That is the entire issue I have with digital games. That one
Yeah,
thing right there. I I got a PS2 from Jordan's family. They didn't want it in the house anymore, so me and Jordan snagged the PS2 they had sitting in the basement.
there you go.
If I bought digital games, if that was such a thing on PS2, I wouldn't be able to buy them now. I wouldn't have them now, but I have physical copies of them, so now I can
Right,
play them. And those
right,
physical copies can still be traded and kept, and
right. Why
if
do
you
you think I
want,
love buying all of my
yeah,
games?
yeah, same.
But literally next gen, though, I have no physical copies of any of the games because
Didn't
I
really,
finally hopped on board.
yeah,
Went digital.
yeah. Like I get it with Steam. Like I'm really eating it with Steam, but yeah, it's. I think the digital market is shutting it down like that. Just goes to show how they don't really care. You bought it, it's whatever. They're not going to support it forever.
If you want it again, just buy it on the PlayStation 5 store because
Yeah.
they sell older games on there too,
Mhm.
but not as many.
Yeah. So
But
I don't know. I think it just goes to show that they're like, yeah, we're moving forward, and we don't care if you didn't.
Yeah.
right, right, yeah. Because the question I had in here for you guys was, do you think Sony will ever care about game preservation? Like, I feel like they, like I just mentioned, them and
No.
Nintendo don't give a fuck. Xbox is 100% on board of trying to
Yeah.
allow you to play every game from every generation on one console, no matter what. If you already own it, you play it again. Don't matter. Like, have at it. Like, why can't other
Yeah.
companies beat this like this? And like thinking about it, like you buy it on Xbox One and you get a Series X. Guess what? You get a free upgrade to that automatically. Like you
Mhm.
get smart delivery. Like Microsoft is doing everything they can in their power to make it easy for the consumer so you don't have to buy the same game multiple times because
Yeah.
Mhm.
I remember the transition from 360 to Xbox One. It was right in the middle when Call of Duty was dropping. Ghost. I had to buy Ghost on 360, played that for like a month until the new console comes out. Had to go buy it again.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. No, that was pretty shitty.
Yeah, that's awful.
So
And it's not like you're getting it at a discounted rate. You're just buy it for 60, buy it for 60. Same
yeah.
game, $120. That's
And
tripping.
and yeah, and then talking about game preservation, The Last of Us, they're remaking it again.
If they just let you play it on all these other consoles, you wouldn't have to
Yeah.
remake it 17 times. Because
Exactly.
literally, this game, Last of Us, because we're not talking about Last of Us 2 remake, we're talking about Last of Us 1 that was on PS3.
Mhm.
Remade, literally, it's on my shelf behind me, the PS4 remake of it, and now they want to remake it again for PS5. My thinking of
Because
it,
it'll
though,
sell.
yeah, and why is it going to sell? Because they have a TV series that's coming out. And they're like, "Oh, but maybe people that never played the game, they watch the TV series, they wanna play the game, but we gotta give them the best possible version of the game."
Mhm.
No, go play what we played.
Yeah. It still looks great. I don't know
Right,
what
the
they need to
remake does at
remaster it
least.
for.
Yeah, like, I really don't understand it, like, for a third time?
Mhm.
I really don't know that many games that have been remade for a third time,
Halo.
other than rebooting.
Halo.
That's not been remastered.
Uh, the Master Chief Collection's been done twice. They remastered the Master Chief Collection after they
It's
made
not
the Master
remastered.
Chief Collection.
It's not really a remaster, they brought it to PC
They
finally.
yeah, but they still had to redo it to make it go onto the
Yeah,
PC.
they had to port it, basically.
Yeah.
that's
But
not the same as a complete remaster or remaking of a game.
yeah, I agree.
But like that, it's really I just don't get it. Like the only way I see it is Last of Us 2. They're riding the hype train. That game won every possible award for the year. The
Hmm.
TV series is coming out because that's another thing Sony's is really focusing on now is their big blockbuster movies and TV series,
Yeah,
which, as we all can account for, most games that get transitioned to movies or TV series don't really pan out to be that good.
right.
Yeah.
Like there's very few exceptions in there. Very few.
I mean, the Mortal Kombat movies were amazing.
I am excited for the movie coming out this
No,
Friday.
no, actually, I want to see it too. I actually want to go see
Yeah.
the new
That
Mortal
might be one of the
Kombat
few
movie.
exceptions that actually
But the
happened.
older Mortal Kombat movies were
I
Yeah,
was gonna say
pretty.
the old ones. Oh my
They were
gosh.
pretty 90s esque.
yes, for sure. But
But
what's your thoughts on this, Meek? Do you think it needs to be continue to be remastered or like what's up?
It's Last of Us. I was always a fan of, like, whenever I'm on Facebook scrolling through videos, I'd always come across like a super long gameplay video of Last of Us, and I would just get lost in watching. Like
mhm.
the detail it has, like the immersiveness is really cool. But just like you said, it's just, at this point, just make something a little bit more, like, is just why I keep going in this vicious cycle.
I don't think they
Yeah,
have any idea what to do because they wrote the story and they closed it. They
Yeah.
they closed the story. So now what do? They had this big amazing series like of a few games, and now we got nothing. We
yeah,
wrote the close to the game. We wrote the game so that it was self-encapsulating. We decided to reboot it like 10 years later, and
Right.
then we were like, "Wait, it sells? Why didn't we do this sooner?"
yeah. Definitely don't get it. And I just think that PlayStation is just getting really caught up on their same couple of games now and not trying
Hmm.
to innovate and create these new ones.
Hmm.
Like, because you think about all the games that are coming out or have been out. It's a
Yeah,
sequel
I
to
think the
Spider-Man.
issue is there's just not
It's
enough developers lately. The developers are kind of jumping
at
ship,
least, yeah,
or they're
especially in
screwing
Sony.
their developers because they think they can, and then the developers are like,
Right.
"Well, there is Western civilization will love our games, so
Right. Yeah. And that's only getting bigger too with
yeah."
from the Japanese over to the West. But yeah, another thing with Sony that I kind of just mentioned though about the whole investment into movies is if you have the PlayStation Plus, they're adding a video pass thing to it. So any movies that they own, like Spider-Man, I guess, Venom, I don't know what
They're
all.
just gonna give you Sony movies now,
Yeah, they're gonna include those into it. I don't know if it's gonna be their whole library of Sony movies or if it's like a couple a month or whatever, but
a rotating
they're trying to
collection.
yeah, I guess they're trying to make the PlayStation Plus more enticing because
Yeah.
I get they have to realize that Game Pass is starting to have a huge impact in the market. Like they're it's definitely going to start. You're going
Yeah.
to start seeing an impact when Microsoft opens up the floodgates for all their first party studios because we literally have only seen like
Hmm.
one game since they have all 23 of these. So there's a lot of games that are
And
cooking.
there's a lot of games on Game Pass even before they started doing the Bethesda push.
Yeah.
Holy God, are there so many games on there for free?
And it's to me, it's only getting crazy. Like, look at all the third party games that are big third party games that are
Yeah.
coming out already in April. We had Outriders day one, April 1st. MLB The Show 2021, Sony exclusive last year. Guess what, guys? It's on Game Pass this year, day one. You know how big of a blow that had to have been, or
Yeah.
like gut punch that they had because that decision was not made by Sony San Diego. That's the developers that made that game.
Hmm.
That was made by MLB because MLB has all say in what happens with their game.
Hmm.
Right.
So that was exciting to see. MLB was like, "Yeah, fuck you. We want more people to play baseball, guys.
Yeah.
We want more people to be involved and understand baseball." And Xbox has a huge market. And guess what? It's going to go on Game Pass because there's more engagement on games when they're on Game Pass. And
Hmm.
even Microsoft had a point when they put Sea of Thieves and like Forza or whatever onto it for the first time.
The
It
community's
increased
boomed.
yeah, it boomed by like 50%,
That's why they
75%.
added a pass to Sea of Thieves. They're like, oh, we can do a battle pass now as well on this.
Yeah. So it's
Because,
free to play now. Now you got to get make money somehow.
yeah, and there's tons of people on it now.
Mm.
Hmm.
So,
Who knows what financial stuff that goes on behind the scenes? Like how does anybody make money from Game Pass? It's $15 for Game Pass Ultimate. times I don't know what number they're up to, say 20 million. Like,
Hmm.
but how many? But you just said how many games are on Game Pass? There's like 300 games on Game Pass. So how do you
There's
divvy?
way more than 300.
Yeah, it's like 300 plus. I don't know the exact number, but
Yeah.
like, how do you divide the money up to go out to all of them? So who knows what magic that happens behind
Yeah.
closed doors? But that's pretty cool.
Hmm.
But what's this next thing, Roger? You sent it to us here. Steam goofing up and allowing Midnight
Oh
Club
my
to make
God! So did you guys not hear about this week?
no.
So
That's
somebody
epic.
accidentally hit a button and removed the entire Rockstar library from Steam.
Yeah.
The entire Rockstar library just disappeared off Steam. And in a rush to fix that mistake that somebody had done, they rebooted all the Rockstar library back into Steam. And they forgot that there were games they don't have licenses to give out anymore. So, like Midnight Club, for example, they don't have licenses to the songs anymore. So they can't sell you the game because they can't sell you the song anymore.
Yeah.
And that's another issue altogether, how songs have this whole royalties thing for the games. Well, Midnight Club 2 had some songs in it that they don't
And
own the rights to. So now
Yeah.
they just sold a game from Midnight Club 2 that they can't legally sell.
I'm not gonna lie, that whole franchise, Midnight Club 1, 2, and 3, always had bangers. Like
Yeah,
you
it
in
was
there,
such a
I
good
would just
game.
ride around like, this music's tough. Like
Yeah.
we were
No, it
young as
was
hell
tough,
when those
man.
games came out. We were elementary, maybe middle school when
Yeah,
3 came out.
no,
Maybe.
Midnight Club was a great game, but yeah, it was the first time in 3 years that the game went back live on Steam and people just instantly knew somehow and just started buying it.
Yeah.
And they're
And
One
like,
you
one
"Oh
person finds
no."
out, everybody knows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I saw it and I was like, "Oh, that's a big goof." So Steam just like completely goofed it up and now Rockstar is in trouble.
But I'm gonna throw a wrench into it here. Was it a goof, or do you think they're
It was a
teasing
goof.
for a new installment?
It's a goof. I'm pretty sure
Because
it was a goof because their whole collection went off, so they lost sale. They weren't able to sell any
yeah,
game,
yeah,
and
no,
they had
yeah,
to
for sure.
restore the collection.
No, I just like to stir the pot because I would love for a new Midnight Club to come out. I mean, because you think about it, when's the last Midnight Club 3 was
When's the
maybe
last
PS2,
like I haven't had any good racing games recently. Uh,
other than Forza. I mean, because you
I
guys
don't
don't
even
play
I'm not even a
Forza.
fan of Forza. Like it just I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of it, and there.
Horizon, that series is the best. The open world one, so dope
Yeah.
by far.
Yeah.
So I definitely would like to see some more competition back into the racing scene because like Need for Speed's gone stale.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's been a
Oh yeah.
that bread has been in the cupboard for about 10 years now, and
but
it's
why? Like you said, there's no
there's no
competition on the
competition. Yeah,
for
you could
that arcade style racing game.
mhm.
There's none. But think
Yeah,
about it back in the day when Need for Speed was at its peak. You had fucking Burnout Paradise. You had that whole series period. You had
Burnout,
Midnight Club.
Midnight
You
Club. Yeah.
had that one. They had Need for Speed. Like they actually had three of them trying to compete, and then not including like Gran Turismo and
Hmm.
there's a couple of them that I can't even think
And
about
then
right now. But there was
they just stopped them because I guess they don't sell as well as first person shooters or store or adventure games. So they were just like, why make one? And it's like,
literally,
no.
literally, the market right now looks like Forza and the Crew 2 or the Crew series, which is a
Hmm.
fun game. That one's an interesting racing game. It's kind of like Need for Speed, and then you
Yeah.
got the Need for Speed games that are like, but like the number one racing game is Forza, whether it's Motorsport or Horizon.
Hmm.
No other game can compete to it because it looks real as shit. It's
Yeah.
fun as
Real as
hell,
shit.
but
Crazy.
still miss the fun arcade shit like
Hmm.
drifting. Not supposed to be able to drift at 300 miles per hour. NOS, unlimited NOS. Like
Yeah.
that was fun.
No, yeah, I definitely got to say there's not a lot of competition, and like half the time if you get a racing game anymore, it's part of another game.
Yeah, more or
Yeah.
less. But that was the thing too with the Midnight Club that I was reading into why Rockstar probably won't focus any resources onto that making that game is they really want to they can just incorporate a Midnight Club racing game into GTA if they ever wanted to like as an
Well, that's what
expansion.
they do.
Of course.
That's what they do. They just make GTA racing maps, and they just make these dumbass maps in the sky in GTA, and it's like, why?
That's epic. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
like,
really be putting
Oh, of
racetracks in the
course this
sky.
shit in GTA.
oh yeah, GTA they like have whole racetracks in the sky, and it's like, don't fall off or you explode.
Yeah.
Explode, yeah, because you don't die when you fall from heights in that game.
Yeah, well, you
But
do, unless you hit something, lose all your momentum. Like you just hit a telephone pole and you're like, "Pff," and then you just land on your feet.
You're good.
Okay. No,
But yeah, that's definitely funny. You brought that up. I was like, Midnight Club 2. Like, I
yeah.
didn't even I didn't even read the headline. All I said was Midnight Club 2. Instead, I was like, they're making another Midnight Club game. Oh, never mind. No, they're not.
No, they just accidentally released their Midnight Club game.
Yep. Hopes went high and then crashed and burned
Yeah.
really quick. But let's get into some other some more gaming news. I know Meek can talk a little bit more about this one though. First off is Call of Duty 2021, supposedly set during an alternate universe in the World War II time frame. Would that game be appealing to you? Have you been a World War II shooter fan?
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, I was always into World War II esque shoot 'em up games, but none of the Warzone I'm not too familiar with. I didn't play the new season yet. I really can't wait though. I might play like a game or two after this. But no, yeah, it's definitely something I'd be into. Like, just Call of Duty. Ever since I was a kid, man, I played Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always gonna be just like that diehard Call T person about it. But nonetheless, they do disappoint me. Not gonna lie, but
Yeah.
no,
So
I'm
were,
like
were you
I'm
were
gonna
you a
have
fan
that
of
strength every time.
were you a fan of World War II then?
Yeah,
By made by Sledgehammer a couple of
yeah,
years back.
absolutely. I was a fan of Frontline way back in the day. Like it's like yeah, I'm
Mhm.
Call of Duty has always been a part of me for sure.
Mhm.
Okay. What about you, Roger? Does the World War II Call of Duty appeal to you more than modern?
Um, no, 'cause the thing is for me, for Call of Duty, I'm just not a big fan of the play style of the game, really. It's pretty fast. It's pretty fast paced kind of arena shooter, and
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the get shot, get up, go, get shot, get up, go, and it's just, I like it a little more normal paced. So I don't know. The alternate timeline kind of thing. Call of Duty only has so many things they can do. They only have
Right. But
so
how many
many
times?
settings.
Right. How many times
Times
can you
have
tell
we?
World War II?
Yeah, exactly. How many times can we do? All the battles of World War II. Start making shit up. Hitler won. Okay, now let's play it out after Hitler won, as opposed to something
Well,
else. You know,
that's why we have Wolfenstein.
yeah. So yeah, exactly. We have games like that, but now Call of Duty wants to try it. So I give it a
Go for
go.
it.
But like, to be honest, just lately their ratings haven't been high for their games, and like I'm not
How would
looking to
they get
play it for
different?
the single player. Like from what I hear people talk about, they're like,
Okay.
oh, look at
Okay.
Cold War, Cold War.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying Cold War and Modern Warfare are the two best-selling Call of Duties of all time.
Yeah,
It's
but
insane.
and for all I hear from people is
It's trash.
it's
Yes.
trash, it's trash, it's trash. Then why did
It's
you buy
because
it? Because it's Call of
we're
Duty.
all we're
So
all fanboys. Like, why do you
honestly,
buy
it
a
doesn't
console?
matter what they do with Call of Duty. They could set it, in World War I, and it's like Hitler appears early, and it's like people would be like, "I'll buy it," and it's like, "Okay, whatever, man."
No, no. My way of looking at it is they could probably make it in the Revolutionary War where you got to fucking run around with muskets and
You
shoot one
bayonets.
bullet at a time. They would. People will love it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people would
And
be
then,
like,
and
"I'll give me in on this." They'd be like, "Multiplayer sucks."
yeah. Yeah,
right.
what Modern Warfare 2, what we were like 13, 14 shooting up in a freaking airport. Like
Yeah, that caused a
jeez.
lot of controversy, and
Yeah,
uh,
I
I
was
wish
gonna
it never
say,
got
God, I
banned.
feel like that's like a big reason why Call of Duty is what it is now. It like
yeah,
has that big following because they took the first steps in those controversial
yeah.
plots and
And then they
whatnot.
stopped being that. They were like, "All
Yeah,
right, we're
yeah,
gonna push the envelope," and
exoskeleton.
then they're like, "Okay, we've got a ton of people playing this and that. Let's just follow a formula."
Yeah,
Right,
word.
but another thing, Call of Duty, Verdansk, bye bye. It
Yeah,
blew up, but then threw that ass in reverse. If you watch the event that happened over the last 2 days, zombie outbreak took over the whole map. You died, turned to a zombie, blah blah blah. Nuke went off today, blew up the map, but once it hit, then it went into reverse and it went the whole way back to 1984.
Yeah.
So there's new point of interest.
So
There's
it's
oh
it's a
shit.
maps
cold
changed.
it's Cold War era.
Yeah, Cold War Verdansk, and it looks pretty cool. Like they brought some maps from like Black Ops
Now, is it
series and
gonna have like Modern Warfare guns still in it?
I don't know. I haven't seen that, but what I heard is before people were saying it like I think it is only Cold War guns, but I don't think that's true. There's no way that they would have invested that many resources to have Modern Warfare guns in it and to take them back out.
Yeah,
Well, I could see why they might do it, just because it's a themed event. And then
Right.
after the season's over, they go back and they put more. They
Well,
change it around again.
it's not a themed event like that. The old
Yeah,
Verdansk map
yeah,
is gone.
yeah.
Like I don't think
It's
we'll ever
the
see it
new
again.
map for
Yeah.
6 months or whatever.
Yes. What are we in April? So yeah, 6 months, 6, 7 months when the new game come out.
Yeah,
But then again, Warzone never came out until March. So it was 1 year anniversary last month. So this new map could be around for another year, and then they implement World War II, if it is World War II, and let's see
hmm
how they go and do that. I don't know. They gotta they gotta figure it out. Warzone's one of the biggest games or platforms in the world right now,
hmm
and they just passed 100 million people playing it or have played it. Like that's impressive. Especially the game's only been out for a year. That's pretty astonishing. But again, it's Call of Duty, so
yeah.
has the name Call of Duty in it, it's going to attract everybody and their
And
mom
it's
to
and
come.
it's free to play. So
Yeah, that was another big thing too. Because if it wasn't, I don't think it would be
no,
as
Yeah.
successful.
I wouldn't be playing if it wasn't free to play. Hell, they dangle free to play. I enjoyed 5 minutes of it, so I was like, yeah, I'll to play a little bit longer, play longer, and then I invested into it.
Right.
I
Now here
wasn't
we are.
gonna buy it for $60 or $40.
No, yeah, no, for sure. But competitor. Why has Call of Duty been so stale? Because there are no competitors, and Battlefield 6, the
Yeah,
supposed number, is supposed to be released this year, and it's supposed to be a next gen exclusive. Like,
I would give it a
when
go.
was Battlefield a
I'm
good game?
I'm
Yes.
hoping I'm really hoping it's a good game. I honestly love Battlefield games. I think they're fun, and I think they have a. I would love to be in on the community early on,
Hmm.
uh, because just I like the physics of the game. Because it took Call of Duty a long time to get to the same physics as Battlefield had.
Right.
Like they have it now. They have bullet drop, things like that. But
Mhm.
like,
Hmm.
and Battlefield did it first, and they had a fun way of doing it, and it felt like it wasn't point and click. It felt like
Yeah.
I actually had to try harder. And I like the
Right.
maps, and I just genuinely like the playstyle. So I'm excited. I really want to see Battlefield 6, and I hope I have a bunch of people who want to play it with me.
What was the last Battlefield you played?
5?
The most recent one, and set in World War II.
Oh, no, then that would be Battlefield 4, then it would be.
So you skipped one as well. That was set in World War I.
Yeah, yeah, Battlefield. The fifth Battlefield was Battlefield 1. Yeah.
Yeah, the worst naming scheme that
Yeah,
you can ever have. They had
Yeah.
Battlefield 4,
yeah,
Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5, and
It
then
took a harder turn.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was Battlefield 5, but
like,
it's,
I get where
yeah,
they went there. Battlefield 1,
yeah.
it's in World War I, but you could have just called it Battlefield WW1
Yeah,
if you really wanted to.
exactly. So I didn't play that one, but I played the one before it.
So you played Battlefield 4.
Yes. So
Okay. Or actually, was it Hardline? Actually, I cannot remember which one
I
came
played
back before.
Hardline. I started the campaign, played it for a little bit. Wasn't a huge fan of it. Just it didn't feel what I was accustomed to. So I was just kind of like,
Hmm. Yeah.
I'll.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Meek?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's super exciting. I really like Battlefield. Battlefield 4, I used to play a lot. The Battlefield 1, the World War I one, I really enjoyed as well. Just like you said, Roger. It's just makes you want to try harder. It's like so way more. It had that tacticalness
No,
from the Red
It's more
since
real.
since
it
early
wasn't
days.
about
Yeah,
running and gunning. It was about
Yeah.
patience and
yeah,
If
and
you run in
kind
a
of
gun in that game, good luck getting a kill.
yeah, real
yeah.
shit.
Yeah, you run across and some dude's just sitting there in a bush watching a sight, and he's
Yeah,
like, "Brrrt."
and I
Like I
say yeah, the
watched.
mechanics, yeah, just like yeah, when you run and stop, and you have to
Yeah,
gather yourself and stuff like that. Yeah, it's yeah, awesome game. I can't wait for real, for real. Yeah, that might convert me. Hopefully I play Battlefield 6 a shit ton now instead of Warzone.
yeah,
Right, exactly.
and
But being a next gen exclusives, what are your thoughts on that? Like they're just gonna say bye bye to the current gen where they have way more of a player base. Like it's a game that
yeah,
already struggles.
yeah. I think it's the right move. I think it
Hmm.
says we want to make the best game we can. We can't do it if we support you guys. I know you can't move to next gen or you're not playing on next gen. I'm sorry, but we don't want to dumb down the engine for you.
Hmm.
We want to make the game perform well.
Okay. No, yeah, I agree. Battlefield has always been one of those good looking games, and
And they've
they've
always been
always
next gen. They've never like staggered their game. Last time I checked, I think they only made it for a gen. Even on when they skipped from one gen to the next, they were like, it's either this one or this one.
Mm.
They had one
right.
engine and on one generation. I don't
Right,
believe
right.
they ever
So,
staggered.
well, one thing to throw into the mix here with Battlefield is the rumor that's going around is Battlefield could potentially drop into Game Pass day one, and that would be a huge thing for Microsoft again, having another
I'd buy
third
Battle
party
Pass.
drop in.
I'd buy
Like
Battle Pass just to save myself $60.
Game Pass, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
Game
so,
Pass.
so having it in Game Pass, man, like that would be huge, especially for the Battlefield community. Because thinking about it, like one did okay, Battlefield 5 horrible. It did terribly critically, did terribly commercially. It was just bad, overall bad game. I never played it, so I can't personally.
It
Uh,
just didn't succeed
that
in the same way because they
yeah,
changed their whole. They shook up the entire formula.
and it was one of those games that you didn't want to drop $60 into. So like,
Yeah.
and now that a game sucks so bad, a good way to recruit some of your fan bases, throw it into a Game Pass that people already have, and that's going to grow your fan
Hmm.
base back. And the thing is, if it's actually a good game and all those people are playing, guess what? Word of mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, you got to get this game. Like you got to come play it. Like
Hmm.
I think that'll be huge if that is what's going to happen. I mean,
Yeah.
because EA Play is already part of
It
Game Pass.
will. It will. It will reinvigorate the franchise. I think. It will give them a chance because Call of Duty, I think, has been kind of not 100% there for their fan base, and people hit Battlefield 5 and they went, "This is bad. I guess I'll just go back to Call of Duty."
Right. Call of Duty has never been bad.
Yeah.
It's just never. It's.
It's
I
never
think
been. It's
it's
never
never been Modern
been.
Warfare 2 or
Yeah.
3 era. Yeah.
Yeah. It hasn't always been excellent. It hasn't always been good, but it's never been unplayable.
And it's always been enjoyable, no matter
Hmm.
how bad we think it is. Like, just gotta get good at the game. It is a game that there is a skill
Hmm.
gap
Yeah.
between people.
Yeah.
That dope.
It's insane watching some people play. You're like, we gotta reload the weapon, guy. Don't run out there. What are you doing?
You watch somebody run out, get picked off, drop, and you're like, "Mm,
Or those guys who run to the same spot over and over and over, and they like, I keep dying. Like, yeah, you keep running to the same spot.
spot." Yeah.
Go around.
It's
Man,
like,
There's other lanes in the game. You know who's the big culprit to that, Miko?
who?
Al. Al is the biggest culprit. And if he's watching the show, bro, gotta pick a different route. Stop going to the same spot and then get mad. Bro, I keep dying. And you know how hype he gets.
yes.
Like it's insane. But
Uh,
And I get caught in that. I get caught in that vicious loop myself sometimes. Just sometimes when you're just like getting you get in those modes, you're kind of tired, about to get off, and you're just like,
no, I know what it is. Like you
zombify.
get pissed off, you're like, I'm gonna kill him this time. Shit, I didn't kill him.
Nah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
kill him
there's
this
that
time.
too.
Like,
Super
that's the
rage.
definition of insanity, my friend.
Yeah, exactly.
but one more thing before we move on to our topic two of the night is it was just announced actually a little bit earlier is they're bringing more FPS boost games
Hmm.
to into the Game Pass. Like, oh, most of them on EA. Because we were talking about Battlefield, made me think of it.
Yeah.
Like Battlefield 1, 4, and 5, or whatever, however, whichever order you want to put them in, all got FPS boost. Like, and there was like a bunch of other games too from EA that got a FPS boost too. So, and it's crazy. A lot of the Battlefield games will support 120 frames per second. So, that's incredible to
That's
see a
awesome.
shooter to be able to run at 120 frames. Because I don't Call of Duty doesn't do that.
Oh my
At
god.
least I don't think it does. So, and that game matters if it's at 60 or 120.
Yeah.
Like that could be life or death, literally. But yeah, I just wanted to interject that real quick before we move
No,
on
you're good.
to our. But we're gonna try something different here. We're gonna throw in like this topic here. We're gonna talk about bosses in video games. I don't know, Miko, if you're gonna be able to participate. There had to been some boss at some point that
Oh
pissed you
yeah,
off.
yeah, for sure. Definitely in my early Mortal Kombat years. I remember this really old Mortal Kombat game. I wouldn't be able to tell you which one it was, but it was the one where like the campaign was there was this big ass mountain, and like you went to different points of the mountain. You had to fight each person to get up to that big ass like my with the dude with the horns, like devil, huge demon looking dude, and that was just the worst night of my life. I was like 11 years old, just completely pulling my hair out, yo. Like that shit was just, uh, but
Right.
no,
Yeah.
yeah,
So to
you
get to
got
get into the question though here is how important though are boss fights in games? Like,
okay.
So it depends on the game you're playing, really. So I I play a lot of RPGs and stuff, and I think the big thing to remember is bosses always underscore a genre can live or die by its boss fights.
Mhm.
I think if in thinking about it, for example, like Dark Souls or Demon Souls or Bloodborne, the game lives or dies by its boss fights. When you talk to somebody, you don't talk about how you build a character or how this one NPC did stuff. No, you talk about usually this boss fight or that boss fight or how I
Right.
hated this boss. It I think boss fights are an important thing in games because they give you a real idea. They set the stage for where the game's going to go, where you should be skill wise, and it really
Mm.
helps to break up the monotony sometimes. Like, oh, I just do the same combo every time, but all of a sudden this boss changes up how they've been fighting, or like, oh, I've been casting spells this whole time, and all of a sudden this boss is like, I'm in your face the whole time. You can't cast.
Right. No, for sure. What's your thoughts on that, Meek?
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely I think bosses are definitely important because yeah, like you were saying, Roger, it just forces people to really delve into the game to each and every aspect of the
Mhm.
game rather than just spamming one method or just completely going against the plot or whatever you're supposed to do and
Yeah.
still accomplish something. Like there's no point in that for sure. It just forces you to appreciate the game.
Hmm.
No, yeah, for sure. I definitely agree. Yeah, but without bosses though, it some games might be just too easy to play because
Hmm.
it was
Yeah.
always a challenge. Like you're building up to something and you're like, all right, cool. All them skills I just learned. Now let me implement them to the best of my ability and see if I can take
Hmm.
on the strong baddie of the bad, right? But there's a way of doing these boss fights executed perfectly and really well. And then there's also times where boss fights are really terrible and really pointless.
Yeah.
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 I know you guys have had to run into some
Like,
issues
all
like
right, like let's say for example, some of the worst boss fights in my life probably had to have been Far Cry. Far Cry, the original Far Cry. I played that recently because I grabbed the whole Far Cry collection, like 1 through 5, for like $20 a while back on Steam, I think it was. And playing Far Cry 1 through 5, like when you play Far Cry 1, you really appreciate where the gaming industry has come to.
that.
Sometimes
Going
you
back
miss
to any
some aspects of games, but you really appreciate where the game industry is now. Because, like, I've had boss fights where it always comes in the same way and it does the same thing over and over again. You're like, how long is this boss fight? I hit this boss 10 times with an RPG and he's in a helicopter and the helicopter is just completely intact and it only takes him half a second to kill you with his 50
Oh
caliber
my
heavy machine gun mounted
god.
on an Apache attack helicopter, and you're like, well, this is the worst thing I've ever done with my life. I've gone through boss fights where the challenge has been great though. Like you fight that same boss 100 times, but every time you're like, it's actually engaging.
Yeah.
So
A great example is a game that we just recently played,
yeah. Yeah,
Cuphead.
exactly. Cuphead is one of those games where I'd try against that boss 100 times and I'll just do it over and over again. And they'll do slight changes or like you think you mastered the combo and then you actually didn't realize that it wasn't the repetitious pattern that you thought it was. I,
Mhm.
I really think bosses are an integral part of a game, and they're not for every game, but like I think any game that utilizes some sort of large challenge like that has always been it's always been a way of showing where you've come and where you still need to go.
Right, right, right. Yeah, so my personal experience though with bosses though is I think some bosses can make or break a game,
Hmm.
honestly. And a good example recently, because a game there's times where a boss can be so hard and so difficult, it really like turns you away from playing the game. Like you don't
Hmm.
want to play the game anymore.
Yeah.
And one of the examples right now that I literally had to stop playing the game and completely took a break was Ori and the Will of the Wisp. And this is one of the games of the year, really rated well. And it's
What
one of the
boss?
what and it was the second one. I had to write it down. It was in the Qualux Hollow. It was the horn bug or the horn beetle.
Yeah.
That motherfucker is so damn difficult because like there's no way of dodging some shit. And
Wait. I want you to know if you think that boss is hard, you won't be able to beat any other boss in the game.
Oh, geez. See, I turned the game off. I was like, I'm not playing this game for a while. I'll come back to it because like
Yeah,
that game is naturally difficult. That game
yeah,
will always be hard. And the thing is, like, it's not hard playing the game. It's hard as soon as you get to a boss fight.
yeah. You
And like,
think you have the game mastered, and then all of a sudden the boss fight is like, well, how have you been playing the game?
yeah,
Because you've been playing it wrong.
yeah. Have you just been skipping through everything without battling anybody? And then you get to your like, all right, so how do you jump over them? Like, well, how do I do this again?
Oh
You're
wait,
like,
there's a double jump. Wait, what? Yeah,
yeah,
no, I
I think
definitely gotta say it's. Go ahead.
no, I was
Yeah.
just saying like yeah, that was just one of the hardest ones, and it really just turned me
Mhm.
away, honestly. Oh, another one that I almost fucking gave up on. There's also ways that you don't give up on a game, but you find the cheatingest way possible to beat the boss.
Yeah.
And one of them, I don't know, I think it was you that were playing. It was one of the Borderlands game, and it was the one with the tentacles. And it was me. I don't know who I was playing, but we hid behind this fucking rock and could only see like a sliver of him. He could not hit us, but guaranteed we were hitting him the whole time because we could not be out there fighting him normally because we would get fucked up.
Just
And
die instantly.
we found this little hidden spot that you could not get hit and hit him as many times as you want. But guess what? That took forever because you couldn't go get ammo.
Yeah. And I gotta definitely say, there are times when boss fights are done right and when they're done wrong. Because, like, Borderlands, for example, is one of those games where they overscale the bosses, but underscale all the regular enemies. So you go to fight a boss, and the boss has got 100 times the health of a single enemy, but hits twice as hard. So it only takes him one shot to kill you, but you gotta kill 100 versions of, a normal enemy
Yeah.
while it's doing that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's definitely
And
crazy.
then
What didn't you have that issue with World of Warcraft too? Like the raids before they had readjust them, like they were way too difficult.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then there are times like in WoW, for example, they overtune a boss fight or miss the mark, and they're like, the boss fight was scaled for 20 people when you were only in a 10-man group. So now it's doing twice as much damage. It's hitting, it has twice as much health, and you're like, why is this so hard? You know, but
Meek, did you have any bosses that you struggled with other than
I
Mortal
was gonna
Kombat?
say, the Division, Tom Clancy. Those bosses are awful. I
yeah,
hate those bosses where they're just like
They're
super
bullet
beefed up.
sponges.
They're
bullet
just beefed
sponges.
up. Yeah, beefed up, man. It's so stupid.
Yeah,
Right.
no, I definitely
How
have
many
to
bullets
agree.
did the guy take to the face? Like 1,000 bullets, and he's still walking
Yeah,
around.
right. It's just the whole you're just for 30 minutes just reloading and shooting him and then killing his henchman a couple times and then completely shooting him, venting your clip in this fucking
Throwing
guy.
grenades and rocket
Yeah,
launchers and
exactly.
turrets, and yeah, that game definitely it was a fun game, but it was just
Yeah,
it definitely messed up with the whole bullet
definitely
sponge.
fun, but it just hits a wall so quick.
Yeah,
Hmm.
tuning it. I think tuning bosses is one of the hardest things that's ever happened. Because, like, for example, some of the first bosses I ever dealt with were like Bowser in Super Mario,
Hmm.
in Super Mario 64, or you know, um, the bosses inside like the volcano in Legend of Zelda, or like fighting
Sonic.
Ganon,
How
or
about Sonic
Spyro.
or Spiral too? Yeah,
Yeah,
but
and
Sonic,
Sonic.
I think Sonic's a good one too
Yeah,
because you always
I
fight.
you
remember,
only get two chances. You get hit once, and if you don't pick up a ring, you don't get a second life. That's
Yes,
it. One hit, you're
and
dead.
that definitely taught you like you better be accurate and precise on what you're doing, otherwise you're starting over, buddy.
Yeah. No, I think, and then there are times where bosses are just added unnecessarily to games.
Hmm.
Like, remember in, I think it was Halo 2, where you're like trying to grab the key to the Halo, and it's that little T-shaped thing, and you go and you have to fight a brute chieftain or whatever, a named brute chieftain, and he just keeps jumping up and down, and he's a giant bullet sponge for like
Yeah,
5 minutes, and you're like, oh my god, why is this so painfully slow? And you're like,
right.
the whole time you've just been fighting normal enemies, and then you have to fight a bullet sponge in the middle of Halo.
Yeah,
God,
and then, yeah, that and it's great to talk about bullet sponge in Halo because you go play multiplayer, it feels like everybody's a bullet sponge. Then you gotta put like
And
three.
except for yourself, you die super fast. Everyone's like, slap.
Yeah, it's like one hit with a shotgun, but you got to put 2.5 clips of your AR into somebody. Like,
Yeah,
something went wrong there.
no, I agree. But that's
Any
game tuning.
right, right. Any last thoughts on bosses in video games?
No, I think it would be more engaging to engage with chat, but because we're so late, there's not many people on tonight.
No, yeah, like I was trying to see if I was gonna ask if anybody had any
Yeah,
fights, but ain't nobody in there. I think it's just one. It's all good. Well, like you said, it's late. It's 10 o'clock.
yeah,
People are probably right now anyway, but it's all good. Let's move on to. I think this will be a great part of the episode here with the world news.
Yeah.
Start off here with the. I know we're a little late. We're catching up on some news that happened while we were gone, but the Suez Canal incident. Because I mean, even now we're still feeling the
yeah.
effects of it.
Oh yeah.
Well, for
My,
example, uh,
how does this happen?
how does this happen? So what happened was, the ship got hit by a gust of wind.
Oh,
Um,
get the.
I'm dead serious, and
They're not
they
run by. They're not sailboats.
no, they're not. But it was hard enough. The winds can pick up a house or knock down a building, like
Yeah, but that thing's bigger than like six houses.
yeah. But it's on water. It doesn't
Yeah, but
take.
it's buoyant. So I mean,
Yeah,
if you do get a nice
there ain't
enough
no
gust,
resistance.
yeah,
So all
Makes
it did was turn, and
it's like
then it had its forward momentum, so it just went, and it just knifed right into the side. So
no,
no, we are definitely going to feel the effects of that for a long time because there was a lot of products on that ship that
and all the other
and
shit.
all the ships that were delayed.
Yeah,
yeah, they had to go around the horn.
yeah, no doubt. Because interesting. I don't know if you guys saw, but the owner of the ship or the people who own that ship specifically is being sued $1 billion by the people who own the canal. Which it's great how they just come up with a random number like, yeah, we're just gonna be like $1 billion. Sounds
So,
good.
yeah,
Like, there's no way to figure out the exact amount of damage that's
he
gonna
put a
cause.
lot of thought into this.
Yeah.
They had to bring in tugboats that were unnecessary. They had to dig out part of the canal. They had to bring in all those workers, and then like all of the damages because all the ships that were delayed.
Hmm.
You're costing companies money. So
Yeah.
$1 billion. I mean, it's a big number. It could
Hmm.
probably be bigger. And the people who own the boat better be lucky it is only $1 billion and not $10 billion like Discord.
Yeah.
But that's crazy though. But I'm personally been feeling the impact of this working at Joseph A. Banks.
Hmm.
Our inventory is like very slim, no white shirts, no blue shirts, barely any ties. Like
Wow.
suit wall, there's like barely any suits in the wall.
Really?
Because a lot of the product comes from China, Indonesia, and it gets shipped
Yeah,
to us. It's not flown to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
damn.
So we've been dealing with that. We're like, yeah, well, they're coming to get a wedding party stuff, and sorry, I don't got anything. There's nothing I can order either. We'll let you know when they come in. They might be in May, maybe.
Maybe if you're lucky.
As long as another boat don't get stuck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
holy crap.
No, and like one of the funniest ones I heard is garden gnomes are now running out of stock. People can't make or buy garden gnomes because they're made out of a specific material that was shipped through the Suez Canal, and it got delayed.
Oh, jeez,
So
that's great.
garden gnomes are now a rare resource,
Holy
a
crap.
rare consumer good.
Yeah, but I was reading into it. Like we could start potentially seeing another like shortage of like toilet paper and like paper products and
Hmm.
stuff like that. And it's just crazy to look at how fragile our world is. And
Hmm.
like a great example of that was the Division that Miko mentioned before. That game talks about the breakdown of society like
Hmm.
slowly at a time. Like when they release that trailer and show down the complexity of our world, and one part gets pulled out of it, and guess what? Everything starts to crumble
Yeah.
really. And good thing that one incident what didn't get bigger and cause more issues because that
Well,
could have caused a lot of
yeah.
that could have been the spark for World War III.
Yeah.
We don't know.
I'll be honest. Our world is an upside down pyramid, and it just you take one block out, and the whole pyramid's just gonna.
Yeah,
It's a terrible Jenga tower, my friend.
Yeah, shit. Well
no,
said.
but Miko, did you have any impacts yet from it or felt any of it?
Uh, I mean, and not necessarily. No, I
Like
mean, at
maybe you
our
were shopping
store,
for stuff and they
I mean,
routed it.
no, I mean, our stores have been pretty good, well stocked. Our accessories are manufactured in America. We're a retailer, and
Okay,
so, but our phones, I mean, they've been pretty consistent too. So yeah, we haven't had any problems with any
yeah.
certain manufactured
Well,
phones.
that's the other thing I guess with the phones and any technology that was hit with two crises right now is
Yeah,
boat incident and computer chip incident. So like
Hmm.
that's definitely like a lose lose for technology. But that's good to hear that it's not really affecting.
yeah. My store.
Yeah, you're specifically, but I'm sure it's affecting somebody.
Yeah.
But let's move on to our next topic here. This is, I think, great news to talk about here is that whole George Floyd and Derek Chauvin. I think that's how you say his last name. Don't really give a fuck about him, but justice is served. But it's really personally to me sucks that we had to take like a whole year. We had to hope and pray or whatever you believe in that they get this right. Like, was
Hmm.
it? I don't know about y'all, but to me, it this shouldn't have been debated as long as it was, and we had video proof. Like, we live in a day and age where
Yeah,
video proof is there.
It's right to do trial, man. It's
yeah.
just like
So the issue right now is our society is so ingrained with, police power and policing power. It's
Yeah.
people are so reliant on the police never being wrong. So like to punish a police officer for using excessive force is an issue. To be honest, it really shines a light on how poor our policing in America is. You know,
Mhm.
our police have less training than our military forces, but at the same time wield some similar guns. Police have automatic rifles. they they go around tasing and attacking people. They've got, riot squads, stuff like
the
Right.
they're ready
mass
for war,
here. Yeah.
but they're not trained to deal
Right.
with people.
It takes what, 6 months to become a police officer?
No, yeah, and you don't have to go through any real training. And
Yeah.
like,
Unless
You run laps at a community college somewhere, like
yeah,
right. Well, unless you want to
it's
become a trooper, then you go through like a whole
well,
academy. And
right,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
you want to be your local police officer, which 9 out of 10 is the problem.
But it's just
yeah,
like the interaction though is like night and day when you're dealing with a state trooper and then when you go and deal with some county,
yeah. Local
policeman,
cop.
like yeah, it's fucking crazy how how much more intense they are. Like it's like you would chill, bro. Like
And the thing
easy.
is, like, most police aren't even policing their own neighborhoods half the time.
Yeah,
They work somewhere else and they don't live in the town they police. It's,
exactly.
look at all these cities, like Chicago, for example. There was a study I read recently that almost 100% of the police that police certain districts in Chicago don't live in that district. So, like, some very black neighborhoods are policed by white people living in very nice Chicago
Right.
neighborhoods outside of them.
There was a rapper or artist that had that in their song. Like, don't send like officers that aren't familiar with the hood, like, or
Yeah.
how that kind of stuff works. Like, yeah, granted, yeah, bad shit shouldn't happen no matter where it's at, but like a white racist dude that lives in a fancy ass house isn't going to know how to operate
Well,
in
and
a place where it's
and the
not.
other thing is, like, low income areas have a very specific culture about them. They're very no, I don't want to say gang, but they're very close knit, more close knit than wealthier neighborhoods.
Hmm.
Your neighbor is your family. These people are, you work together to try and keep your little section of
Right.
society running. Not people don't have money, so like, your neighbor maybe you're, the person who takes care of your kids when you have to go work 2 shifts.
Hmm.
It's a lot closer knit community. And like, I had a terrible incident today where these black kids were trying to make fun of me in public. Just they were just shouting shit at me and making fun of the way I look randomly. And like, I don't live in Lower Harrisburg, but like all these police officers that work in Harrisburg, most of them probably don't live in the Harrisburg,
Hmm.
district. They don't live in the actual belly of Harrisburg.
Right.
So why
Exactly.
are they policing an area they don't live? And they've got these sort of ideas, and these people who live this kind of life, they don't understand the struggle of these people. So then they have these stereotypes in their minds that they want to, and they fight with these people. And the issue is, our police are power hungry. That's something like either they hate their job, they hate the people they work with, they've got quotas, so they're stressed and they take that stress out on people. Like, I've had police officers harass me for an hour at a stop. They had no legal reason to keep me there at that point because they were unwilling to give me a breathalyzer. And they were like, "Oh, I think I smell alcohol in your breath." I'm like, "Give me a breathalyzer." And they were like, "I want, uh-uh, uh-uh."
Wait, wait a minute, because it's the other way
Normally,
around.
it's
And
like
not
doing
only
that.
that, they called.
Because if you
There were
deny it,
there were 3 officers. There were 3 officers there harassing me.
yeah, Yeah,
at
police
12
try to
o'clock
abuse.
at night. Like,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but
It,
2 should
it's
be
because we
enough.
didn't have nothing better.
they're
And
gang
nothing better.
members,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, no, it's harass, and it's not protect and serve. It's harass and kill right now.
Yeah,
Mafia.
And that's the
yeah,
thing. They're meant to serve. They're they're here to protect you, protect society. But what they're doing is, this man died. He
right,
died. You only get one life, and he
right.
killed him. Uh,
Yeah,
it's unacceptable, and it's on video too.
yeah. For what, 9 minutes?
Hmm.
It's not like it was like a 10-second clip that was super blurry.
Yeah,
You couldn't see who it was
like,
or anything. Like what
and
happened.
this
You saw
shit's
everything.
it's crazy.
And it,
People are so ingrained in racism. Like, for
and the thing
example,
is,
yeah, go
I'll throw
ahead.
this in there real quick before you
Yeah,
before you keep going on your tangent. There are good cops. There are
yeah.
90, probably most cops are good, but there are a ton of bad apples. And I hate that they're like, well, there are some bad apples. All right, is there any bad apples in the
Well,
in the
and
in the
I'll
pilot
stop you there.
industry?
I'll stop
Yeah,
you there. There may be bad apples, but stories about bad apples trying to be corrected by good apples result in good apples losing their job.
yeah.
I forget who it was. A lady tried a black lady tried a black cop tried to stop a white cop from choke holding choke holding a person. She pulled him off and was telling him he's using excessive force and trying to stop him. She got
Got in
fired.
trouble. Yeah, I remember
She
that.
got fired, and it took 7 years for a court to finally say no. She
Since
was
she
in the
did that,
right. This
yeah.
guy should have been fired. You owe her 7 years of back pay in addition to reinstating her pension. Like, they're
Yeah,
they're a boys club that is geared towards their
I like that.
if you're not a part of the club, you're as bad as the citizens we are killing and harassing. You it doesn't matter. Like, the Middletown chief of police was charged with rape. He had a rape charge against him, and he still kept his job, and they gave him a permanent employment in Middletown.
Yeah, how does that work?
Can you imagine the
Uh,
average citizen trying to get a job,
yeah,
fighting a rape
Is that the
charge?
charge?
yeah, yeah, exactly. This
Because
and
like,
he's chief of police making 100 grand, and not only that, the Middletown Police Department, they paid $1 million for automatic assault rifles in Middletown, PA. When's the last time I had a terroristic threat? We literally have a military airport in
right.
town. The military is literally 5 minutes from town. And they have rifles. They have real guns.
They could
They
probably
can
snipe the
help.
target from where they're at. That's how
Like,
close they are.
I'm just saying, like, there is an issue in America, like policing budgets, for example,
Mhm.
that it's use it or lose it. And I have that too at work where I work for the state. It's use it or lose it, your budget. So police departments, like in the middle of the United States, there are just random police departments in bumfuck nowhere who have APCs. Why does a police department of policing less than a town of half a million, like not even
Decide
half 50,000 people have an APC? Why do they need stuff like that? It's yeah,
there's
the
and
police
it all
budget.
comes down to accountability. No matter what it is, like if
Yeah,
they're being held accountable for what they did,
yeah.
or being held
It's
accountable for stuff that they're
it's
buying,
mhm,
or held accountable in the training.
yeah.
There's no accountability across the board at
No,
any
and the thing
aspect of.
is, you can't if you hold the police officers accountable, then you lose the trust in the system that's already gone. So they're like, we can't lose the trust in the police. What trust? The only
Yeah, who
trust here is the white nationalists and your Republicans and these people who just don't care. I've the only time I've ever needed to call a police officer and they're like, we can't do anything about your issue, and I was like, and they're not even open. I literally couldn't call the police department because they don't have a non-emergency number. I wanted to report a theft. It's not an emergency. I'm not going to call 911 to report a theft.
right?
It's not an emergency. I just need to report it so that you can help me look into this. And the
Yeah.
Middletown Police is like, yeah, we don't handle that. Or
Wow.
I wanted to report somebody who was, parking in the wrong, and they were like, yeah, we don't care. I'm like, you don't want to. You're so ticket happy, but you won't even do your job to hand out tickets. You fat fucks.
Yeah. Well, let somebody try to use a counterfeit bill, and
Yeah,
you're there when
with
three
guns.
or
Um,
four people will
yeah,
let me put my knee on somebody's neck.
Yeah.
It's
No,
insane.
yeah. Or like the guy who the black gentleman who was in a Starbucks and got escorted out by with excessive force, or the Karens who call police who are like, this black man is threatening me. No,
Well,
the shit
no,
is getting
that's
old.
starting to change. If you
Yeah.
falsely call the cops on somebody like that, you're going to start getting charged,
Yeah.
like for that kind of stuff. I don't know what you label that crime as, but falsely accusing
False
accusations or
accusations and
yeah,
there's a whole situation about like lying about you know
right.
it matters. But
But another question I wanted to get to is
mhm,
will this upset the presidents like for future
no,
similar cases?
no,
Because
no, it
I
isn't.
know a lot of courts they run on well, how did this happen in the past? How
Oh
was
yeah,
it
yeah. So X versus Y is what you're looking
yeah,
at here. So
yeah.
Roe
So
v. Wade, or
because this case will be one of the most historical cases that will be in a history.
yeah.
This will be in history books. This will be something that's taught to the younger generations, and
We
this will
hope.
be
We hope.
oh,
That's the
this,
thing. Is we hope that this is a precedent, because what would happen in future cases, based on the precedent set by X v X, we want to instate this. Like
mhm,
I want this matter of throwing out a trial. We want to meet in private with the judge, based on in public, based on this versus this.
right.
No, it's definitely hope. The idea is we hope that we can use this precedent, but the issue right now is the right is using this as the jury was bullied into their conviction, and the issue is no, they were just bullied by the Republican Party just minutes ago, but you guys can't claim that somebody else is bullying him. And like they were trying to get on the president, who added some statements on live television, which politicians aren't supposed to do. They're not supposed to weigh in on this. He did it after they were already deliberating. They were already in deliberation for the verdict. So it's not like he was weighing in on an active case. He
Right.
was weighing in on something after they already went in for deliberation and made their vote and their decision.
No, you yeah, because you're talking about Biden, and he commented after, and he was like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
they did the right thing on
yeah,
accusing him and like that. Like he did his
yeah,
job."
yeah. And that's the thing. Like what we're getting right now is a sad white minority of people who are like, I want to be racist and I want to believe that it is okay. The Dixie still lives, even though it doesn't. You know, they lost.
Right.
Why are there still Confederate flags in upstate New York?
I think flying the Confederate flag should be illegal and a crime.
That should
I,
be a hate crime, yeah.
Because
it's like burning a cross. It should be a hate crime at some point.
isn't it in Germany like it's illegal to fly the Nazi flag?
Yeah.
You
Oh,
get charged with
it's
crime.
illegal to deny the Holocaust. It's illegal to deny the Nazi Party like existed. It's illegal to be a member of the Nazi
That
Party.
should be that should still be because like if you support the Confederates and you're flying the flag, that means like you're an enemy of the
Yeah,
state.
yeah. Right now, there's a whole straw man argument for this whole Antifa thing, and they're like, we need to outlaw Antifa. What about the Proud Boys? What about the Ku Klux Klan? Why aren't these people being handled with,
That have been around
yeah,
forever.
these are hate groups committing hate crimes. I've had friends that I went to college with who told me they're black and they saw literal cross burnings in public parks.
Yeah.
How is that shit acceptable?
Right.
How do we get away with this? And this rhetoric only leads to more issues. So I don't want to get too far down this rabbit hole, but to be
No, no.
honest, George Floyd versus Derek Chauvin, I was glad to see the verdict we got.
Absolutely.
The man has done wrong, and he had no remorse for taking a life that did not.
He feels like he didn't do anything wrong and he was doing the right thing, and mind you, in his mind, he probably was because
And
that's what he was always taught because
that's
it's in their books like that was the quote unquote right way to handle that situation according to their training.
Yeah, and
But
that's the thing. They're warrior training. They're taught warrior style policing. You're not a warrior. You're a police officer. You are
That's
not in the
also true.
military. If you want to be in the
Yeah.
military, go sign up. Like you could be dishonorably discharged from the military and then go to police camp, a police academy, and go work as a police officer. Like the worst of the worst in high school, the people who fail out and are terrible people, just Go become a police officer. Great benefits, got a pension, everything.
Yeah.
You're taken care of. And you get to beat the crap out of people and carry a
You know who are
gun.
the good police officers?
Huh?
You know who they are? You know who are the good police officers? I actually have two friends that I was just in Nashville with. They actually went to college for a criminal justice
Yeah.
degree and then went to become police officers.
Yeah.
So they have 4 years worth of understanding law
Yeah.
and all that everything that's involved with it, and then went through training to become a police officer.
Yeah.
Though you won't have to worry about them going
Yeah.
out there killing people because they're going to know how to handle the situations.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Granted, I
I'm
mean, it also becomes a mental state too, like how you handle certain things because
Yeah,
it can be like
and not only that, a lot of times I don't see police officers going out and expanding their horizons. Like I'm not saying college is for everyone, but going to college and going to a real college and not just going to your local, your local university, like Hack for
you know,
example, like
hey
going
now,
out of your zone to really branch out and meet people that aren't your local community you're already living in. Like
yeah,
Hack, you're getting the Harrisburg area people. Like I went to Susquehanna and I met people from New York, New Jersey, China. I met people from Europe. I met people from South America. I met people from all over the world and got their views, their opinions. You know, I I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have the experiences that I did. And you don't need that as a police officer. You can just taught what you're taught, become a complete racist, and then just go, now I'm in charge
now I'm going
of,
to use my power. Yeah.
yeah, I can wave my power around and get away with it. And like
Hmm.
the whole body cam thing, it's for their protection and ours, but they won't even wear them.
Yeah, because they don't want to get caught doing
Yeah,
something. That's
exactly.
really it. Look, my way of looking at, all right, you don't want to wear it. Guess what? You're a job guy now. You're or a desk guy. You're going to sit behind a desk and file paperwork all damn day.
Yeah.
You're not going out. You're not going out in a car. You're not doing no
hmm
rests. You're not doing none of
But
that
that ain't
until
gonna happen. That
no,
ain't gonna happen. So
unless
it's
unless we get the police reform done
Yeah, and
properly.
I'm really hoping that this Biden administration really pushes a lot of reformations that, we took 2 steps forward with Obama and 7 steps back with Trump. I'm glad we didn't get 4 more years because this country is hurting. There are so many issues that just blatant issues that we watch people go and just do
Hmm.
negligent violence to the world.
Yep.
So
And any last thoughts on this part here? We got a couple more topics.
No, yeah. I honestly I think it's really awesome to this next topic here, talking about, the struggle of minorities in America.
Mhm.
The Jim Crow laws, a terrible, terrible thing. But for Georgia to now push these new laws, these new voter regulation laws, after the state swung blue, they were like, "Oh fuck, we didn't suppress the minorities."
Yeah.
That was the thing. They didn't suppress the minorities enough. They disenfranchised black people enough that they weren't going to go vote. So Georgia stayed red. All of a sudden, we had these people come out and go, "He's going to start grabbing people by the pussy again if you don't vote against him." And they did. They finally voted, and they're like, "Oh my god!" And like every time I hear about voter fraud or mail-in fraud, it was by Republicans. That's the crazy thing to me. Every time I heard about cheating in the election, it was Republicans. Like one guy, he put in 2 ballots for his dead mom and dead dad. He was a Republican, so he went to jail. And I was like, "You fucking idiot!"
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh,
What's your thoughts on this, Meek? Because MLB decided to move the All Star game of this year out
because
of
of it.
Atlanta due to this.
Yeah,
What's your
no, I would. I think it's just complete. Just the government showing off their powers of suppression and whatnot, voter suppression, and if something doesn't go their way, it's just. It's, I didn't really look too much into that time. There's
Well,
a lot
here,
of topics to look over too.
just
it,
for
it was
those
kind
who
of
don't know anything.
happened a little bit ago.
Yeah,
That's okay. I just want to see if you had any thoughts on it. You've been kind of quiet, but I know you're listening.
yeah. So if you don't know much about it, what happened was there were new laws in Georgia for voting, and in response, the MLB decided, "Hey, Georgia, you pass these terrible, terrible racist laws that are targeting these minorities that swung your election.
Yeah,
We're
you're
moving the
targeting.
MLB All Star game out of Atlanta. We are not giving you the business. So, the Republicans on the other side are now saying we're removing the antitrust laws from the MLB. They're trying to attack the MLB and say we're not going to protect you anymore. And it's all these Republicans pushing these reforms, trying to say, hey, we're going to remove your special status as the Major League Baseball, and we're going to say anyone else who wants to come in and be a Major League Baseball, circuit, do so now. And it's like,
Wow.
yeah, they're the government, the Republican government, is trying to fight back against them. So now, like Coca-Cola, Delta, I think it is, a bunch of other companies are now coming forth and saying, "Hey, we're de-investing from Georgia. We're pulling our offices. We're going to stop doing our stuff here because we don't want to do business in a place that doesn't want to respect its population. We're all Americans here, and if you're going to disenfranchise somebody their right to be an American, then we're not going to
Yeah.
support it." So MLB pulled their game, and they also pulled their patches off their clothes.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal, I think. Really, it just goes to show because typically when you think it I hate to say it, but when you think sports, you think a lot more minorities play sports than like people I went to school with. Like I honestly, the sports are
Especially,
populated with a lot of black athletes,
yeah,
and
well, baseball is different.
yeah,
Baseball is more Central
yeah,
America, a lot of Spanish athletes,
Yeah,
and a lot of Asians,
yeah, Japanese and stuff like that.
Japanese, Korean, like
Yeah,
all,
and that's the
and
thing.
there's more of the minorities than there are white people
Yeah.
playing baseball. I
And
think,
that's the thing. So they're
and
saying,
you're
we're
too
going to
big,
stand with the minorities that play our sports. That,
right?
these people deserve their rights. And
Yeah.
if you're going to take them
We're not
away,
any different than what we are.
yeah,
I get it.
you're disenfranchising. We don't own slave labor here. These people are Americans who are the top of their game, and you're going to disenfranchise them. We're not going to support you by disenfranchising the people who are actually putting forth effort.
Right. I agree.
So,
Any last thoughts before we move on?
Yeah, I think it's a definitely a step in the right direction for sure. Big power move. I like that.
mhm.
It's definitely going to shake things up into the place that they need to be.
Yeah, I'm hoping
Right.
these laws get repealed.
Money talks because as soon as you start taking business and money out of something, they're gonna be like, "Oh, damn, we missed that. Like, we need that back. Maybe we should rethink this." So hopefully,
Maybe.
they'll feel the repercussions of this. But one other update here is the COVID-19. You guys think it's been improved, at least in our country,
Yeah,
because it doesn't seem
we
like
are
it's
we are now #1 in the world for vaccinations.
well, that's good because we usually get
We should reach herd immunity as long as we can get the Republicans to start vaccinating as much as the Democrats,
okay.
because that's the big issue we have right now. We have to reach 70% immunity to the virus,
Hmm.
and we're nowhere near 70%. But if we continue on the same trend we are now with the growth that we have, by June we should be at 70% immunity, and we can start repealing things like mask mandates and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, I've been hearing of booster talk though, like booster shots and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Hopefully that doesn't become too much of a issue with the
yeah.
how
Hopefully we can, if people actually took this vaccine, and like looking back at earlier Chill Zone podcast episodes, um, I know I've spoken to people who are black, and they said they weren't going to get it. And I didn't know why, but that's the big issue. The medical community is so untrusted that we're going to have a lot of issues trying to push a vaccine from the medical community because people don't have a trust in American medicine.
Yeah, because a lot of people also get into conspiracies and shit like that.
Well,
Like,
not even conspiracies, actual things that happened.
oh yeah,
Like black people who were they actually didn't treat them of syphilis in the 70s or 60s. Early on, they didn't
there is
treat syphilis in black communities because they wanted to see what happens if you don't treat syphilis. They wanted to watch people. They literally experimented on people without their permission. Black communities killed people because they were like, let's see what happens if you don't treat syphilis.
I mean, yeah, 100%. And people
And
think that, all right, cool. If they give me this shot, like, what happens if they're not giving me the same COVID shot as everybody else, and they're giving me this altered version, and they're testing it because they don't
The chip.
want what
yeah,
happened.
They're
yep,
putting the chip in me.
Because
yeah,
even my girlfriend's in the medical field, and she was actually telling me, like, at any given moment, like when they're giving these shots out, like they could be giving you the actual vaccine, but then there's also the control group who are only given saline. Like they're not really given any medicine in it at all.
yeah. That is only if you're doing scientific experiments. But
But they're
yeah,
not going to tell you that either sometimes, and
that that
that's
that
where
is
you lose
illegal,
trust.
and that is
Yeah,
illegal to do. But the issue
yeah.
at hand is it's happened in the past. And that's what happened with like the syphilis cure for syphilis. People, they just let black communities die to it. Or, there was a lady who went to get treated for a brain tumor, and they didn't treat her and they let her die, and then they took her body and used it for science without her permission. You know, there's a lot of issues with the medical community because it's a for-profit industry, and
Oh yeah.
they'll experiment with people's lives and then they'll go, oops, did we do that? And then there's no repercussions.
Yep.
So I
Yeah.
know there's a lot of distrust. But on the flip side, if we don't vaccinate for COVID and we would have to either keep going as is or people are going to die like crazy. We've
Oh
already
yeah. For
lost enough unnecessary lives. If we can just get to the 70% herd immunity, we'll start to develop a natural immunity through multiple generations
sure.
because kids are already immune. Newborns are already immune to COVID because they're getting the antibodies from their parents, so they gain the immunity from birth now.
Yeah.
We
Right.
just need to push as a society towards it, and if we can get to 70%, we can start going back to life as normal.
Right. Exactly.
But until we get there, it's a hurdle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you guys think about the Johnson and Johnson shot causing blood clots? Even though it's been like 6 out of how many million shots have been given out, like now they're on the fence of like, all right, cool. Do we still use the shot and just put out a
Yeah,
label like all the other medicines? Like, hey, this could potentially
yeah.
happen, but
Well, let's be honest here. Birth control,
oh,
one of the most readily available things in the world,
it's
can
crazy.
literally cause, excessive bleeding. It can cause, there are things out there that cause sterilization.
Man, just listen to the medicine ads that you see
Yeah,
on TV. Think about it back in the day,
and
like,
and not only,
and then
and you're like,
all
what was that side effect? Did I hear death in there?
wait a minute, what? Do I even want
Erectile
to?
dysfunction. One of the taking an ED drug, and you're like in the middle of the thing, you're just like death, and you're like, wait, whoa, whoa, this drug can give me a boner but kill me. I don't know if I want that.
You may bleed internally.
Yeah, ooh, fun.
But on a
Yeah,
serious note, I think that's what's going to happen with this shot.
yeah,
I
and
think they're going to come to the conclusion like, all right, yeah, it can happen, but it's
so,
very rare. It's
yeah,
less than
it's
one.
so rare. It's over 1 in a million at this point. So
Yeah,
and the age group,
and
you're
all
also
these.
missing the important thing. It's only women aged 18 to 48 or whatever. So it's like it's not that it's so uncommon.
I
I
feel bad.
almost got the
Like, I'm
single
so
dose vax. Like I'd actually
sorry.
be immune to
Yeah,
COVID right now, but I couldn't get the single dose vax because the day I went to go get it, they found out and pulled it because of the blood clotting. But I'd be immune right now if it wasn't for that.
exactly. So it'll be interesting to see. I just want to touch on like give you a thought here. My girlfriend just got her first dose.
Hmm.
I don't know the other day, and she's been actually having some quote unquote side effects from it. Like she's been getting a fever. She's
Yeah,
been not feeling good. She's been having diarrhea, and she called off. She called off her classes today, and her school is completely understanding because they're in the medical field, so they know
yeah,
don't come in.
yeah. We don't
You're
want
not
you in here if you're sick.
right. Well, she works at Target, and they basically gave her like an ultimatum, like you
Yeah,
either come in or guess what,
you're
you
fired.
know, you're fired basically, and you can't do that. It's straight up unethical. You can't force somebody to come to work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
And like, and the thing is, like, you have signs outside of your store saying if you don't feel well, if you have a fever, don't
don't
come
come in
in,
here.
stay home.
But if you're a
But you're trying
staff,
to force
yeah,
the employer just because they're understaffed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just like, why is it her fault? Why are you putting people's
Hmm.
lives in just because you
That's
guys
corporate America, and that's the issue. So
another?
I want to divulge away from the whole COVID vaccine causing issues. Yeah, all vaccines cause side effects. It's your body's natural response. If you catch COVID, you may just stop breathing. So like I would rather have diarrhea than not breathe. Like one's essential to life. Like
Right.
That's the thing. So, I yes, the COVID shot is going to be a little excruciating at times. Like I felt exhausted the day after it. My arm hurt for 3 days. I was just lethargic, and I hear the second shot is going to be even more of a pain in the ass
Hmm.
because your body's now knows what COVID is and goes to treat it faster. So then you go into immune response.
Yeah, so you might want to take 2 days off of work
Yeah,
after you get that.
exactly. You might want to just have your sick days ready and tell your employer, "Hey, I'm getting the second shot," and it's
Mhm.
it's
Yeah,
it's gonna be
most
rough.
shops have been understandable from everybody's experience
Yeah,
that I've heard. They're like, "Yeah, go for it." Like, we understand, like, it's not going to be easy for
yeah,
people. Some people take it differently and stuff like that.
yeah.
Second one, like the first one, you're like, sore arm, a little tired. Second one might feel like death, but
Yeah,
Okay.
I've heard stories where people are like, I got the second shot, I felt great, and then I went home, I was eating some cookies, and I just gave up and laid there on the couch staring at the TV, and I couldn't move. And I'm like, oh, okay,
yeah,
just like gave up. They like the exhaustion, the wave of exhaustion just hit them, fevers, chills. Like,
yeah,
yeah, it's gonna suck, but it's better than not breathing or eventually having your heart die. Because that's the other thing. COVID causes heart issues, heart disease and stuff.
okay.
It will
Yeah,
kill your heart. So like, I would rather feel like shit for 2 days or 3 days than have a lifelong heart disease issue now.
right, exactly. But Meek, any last thoughts on COVID here?
Oh no, not necessarily. I've been trying to get my hands on Pfizer, but man, I'd pretty much be the only one I take because they have so much, previous research in SARS, and that has a big,
Oh yeah, for sure.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I ended up getting the Moderna over in Hershey, and quick and easy, and they have appointments out the ass.
yeah, no, yeah.
That's
I
the
was gonna
other thing.
say my
Fi-
girlfriend got Moderna.
Finding the appointments is a killer. That's the big issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
How'd you get it? Was it a drive-by stabbing?
Me? No, it was in store.
Oh, okay. Because I heard a lot of them are just like
Yeah,
outside. Like you pull up, like, all right, cool, go sit
go,
in the car.
go. Yeah, no, it was a socially distanced line inside of a Hallmark pharmacy.
Socially.
There was like four
That's another
people in
thing.
there.
I was in Nashville, right? COVID didn't fucking exist in Nashville.
Oh yeah, I can believe
There's
that.
no social distancing. There's no mask mandates. There's like the only time you got to wear a mask is in the Uber, and then you don't have to wear it outside the building, and you don't have to wear it inside the building, but you got to wear it walking through the door. Stupid as fuck. But
Oh yeah. Well, people think once you sit down at your table, you've got this little
it's,
protective shell around you.
yeah,
You know,
you're
oh,
all
there's
good.
nobody sitting behind me, but it's not like they can't breathe in a confined room.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Or
All
like on the
sharing.
planes, like you're shoulder to shoulder on the plane, full plane, like you're just like,
Yeah.
come on, like this mask is not protecting me from shit that close to
Yeah,
somebody.
it's recycled air, and it's not like you're sterilizing the air every time it's recycled.
Well, apparently they said they are. It's like a new filtration system, maybe. But let's move on here. Get some more topics. Definitely a long one, of course, but we had a lot to talk about, especially catching up on a lot of the news
Oh
here.
yeah.
But this one was pretty cool. You sent this one actually over to us, Roger. It was New York State just passed a law requiring ISPs to provide $15 broadband connections. Like, what is that exactly? How you think it's possible?
Well, it's the law. They have to, whether
No,
or not it's possible.
no,
It's the
I
law.
get that. I get that point. Yes, the law, but like,
What it
man,
does is it proves at this point that the internet is a standard for living.
yeah,
Our society demands that you have to have internet as a basic necessity. That's what this is saying. And I don't care what any boomer says to me, the internet is now a necessity.
Yeah.
You cannot do anything without the internet anymore. They do not publish anything that isn't on the internet anymore. Like places just mail, like mail. It's all email nowadays. If you get mail, it's all junk mail. That's all it is.
I know
And
it's like
like most places are like, oh, we don't do paper bills anymore. You have to do it online on our website, or you
they
know,
charge you for paper ones now. If you want to
yeah,
get your,
yeah,
you got to pay for that.
yeah. So now I'm paying extra to get my bill instead of just having
Just
internet.
kidding.
But then the issue is the internet is a problem. So like everyone's getting cornholed into really shitty internet through Comcast and Verizon that's like it's a part of our package deal, but it's literally moving, you know, my dial-up felt faster at some points than some of these internet connections. But at this point broadband has is a category of internet that you have to meet a speed requirement, and now New York State said every person needs access to broadband and it cannot cost more than $15. That is setting a bare necessity for something and a maximum cost. It is literally saying you cannot cheat people
So
out of this necessity.
basically, I'm assuming this is going to be like Section 8 or like food stamps, but like not. Do you have to apply for
It's
this, or like
no,
anybody get $50 internet?
it is every ISP has to offer every citizen of that state $15 broadband.
How good is the internet? Like, what is the speeds are we
A
looking at here?
broadband category is like what, 15 megs a second?
Awful.
But that's not terrible. Like, you can that. I think the minimum requirements to run these games on your phone is like 10.
Yeah. So broadband speed, what is a 11 megabytes, megabits per second? Megabits, not megabytes. That's 3 megabytes, roughly 3 megabytes per second. So it's it's not great,
No, it'll
but
get
it's
your
not
email.
bad. And that's the thing. That's only the minimum. The maximum can go up to 50 megabits. Um, that is a fast broadband is 11 to 50 megabits per second, not megabytes. So
Mhm.
it's it just means you have to have a bare necessity at this point. And
Yeah,
what the weird thing is, we don't do other things like that, like housing and water and stuff like that. There isn't really the same kind of laws as well. Like, you're kind of at the mercy of your water company and at your electric company and things like that. Whereas this is saying you get to choose your internet provider if you want internet, which isn't something you need to survive, but we are saying is a basic necessity for people. If they choose to want it, they need access to it if they decide they want it or need it.
right,
And I think it's a step in the right direction for a first world government, a first world country.
right.
People are giving dial-up style internet for $70 a month. I'm getting 1 gigabit per second. That's 250 megabytes a second for
Yeah,
$70 a month. Price doesn't change or anything like that for me, but if I wanted broadband, it'd be like the same price. It's kind of unacceptable what they're charging for a 90s style internet connection. You know,
yeah,
so
yes, yeah. But last topic here before we close it out. Miki, I know you can talk about this a little bit more because LG shutting down their smartphone business. Is this?
Jeez,
do people
yeah,
actually buy LG?
I mean,
Oh yeah,
yeah, I was gonna, yeah, it's definitely boomer friendly for sure. But freaking, no, yeah,
LG
LG,
being like the first, like they always create like the first of this or like there's a MKHBD whatever his bull's name on YouTube. Like he reviews everything and he actually talked about this and like literally labeled everything that they created the first of like the first camera or first this or first that. Like they're a huge innovator in the cell phone.
they've been all they make awesome phones. Yeah, that's like we still sell the crap out of them things like the V60, the Velvet. Like they have Qualcomm Snapdragon processors. Like they're really good phones. Like they definitely have a lot of longevity. But yeah, so like Q70 is a lot. It's just if I was staying with the same company now, it definitely would have an effect on me because the way that my company's comp structure is set up, like it goes by the manufacturer about how much money you get per sale. Like you sell iPhone sells their products to Verizon for so much we barely profit. So it's like $10 for an iPhone. But nonetheless, if you sell at LG, that can bring like $250 to your bucket because of their how much they sell their phones to Verizon. And so
Now,
yeah,
is
like,
that the store making that or you as your commission?
no, so that is the store making that. I get a percentage of that, and
Okay.
then so our store sees like that my particular store now sees like 250 to 300 boxes a month, and uh, that's split up amongst like 3-4 reps.
Okay.
And then so my percentage of boxes, my boxes were like 40% of that is LG, like 40-50%. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good amount because it's just like they're just you know they're solid phones and boomers come in like I don't want an iPhone, I want something because iPhones they're cookie cut. They just put a whole bunch of technology that most people don't even fucking use and sell it to you for $1,000. Like you know what I'm saying?
And
So it's
and they're cheap too sometimes. They're
yeah
really fucking cheap.
Yeah.
about their the way they work. Whereas
Yeah.
like an LG, you can get into that shit. You can do whatever you want for it. Oh shit, my screen broke. Let me just fix that real quick here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're the aftermarket on their parts is just so much better, so much easier to fix. Yeah, if you try to fix an iPhone glass, yeah, it's like $300.
Well, you can't for the most part anymore.
Yeah,
Like you can't even replace. I watch people replace two parts from the same. They bought the brand new iPhone that just came out or whatever. They replaced the. They took one part from one phone, and they just replaced the same part between the two brand new phones, and neither of them would boot and work correctly.
Well,
wow.
Yeah,
well, it sounds like they know what they're doing because it is possible. Because them dudes at the mall can do it.
no, 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 not with the newer phones. They are actually adding in serialization where they look at the part and the part like the wireless adapter has a serial number on it that if it's not the same serial number, the phone starts flaking.
Oh,
Gee,
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Apple is
well,
writing in fail safes to try and
yeah,
keep people from
those
third
kind of
party
parts.
vendors.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. But if you were just replacing the screen, like they can do it.
Hmm.
can't say it surprises me.
No, no,
No.
yeah,
Anyway,
Apple's really fighting the whole right to repair right now,
Yeah,
and all the right to repair anytime it comes up in any business right now, Apple is sending the same lawyer to all these different places across the country trying to fight it, and
yeah,
this shit's crazy.
yeah, like I have one of the iPad Pros here. It's probably like I don't know, a good solid 4 years old, and the whole screen's like shattered. I still use it though.
yeah.
It, it
Yeah,
it's
did
not terrible, but it's definitely but it's like $600 to replace the screen.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
That's why like when I found out the price, I was like, fuck that. Let me just buy the new one. So I ended up buying the
yeah.
another iPad Pro.
That's the thing. They don't want you to replace anything. They want you to be a constant consumer.
yeah.
Yeah,
So did they say why LG was shutting down their smartphone business? Because
they
I
said
know
that.
their TVs don't sell.
Well, no, their TVs actually do suck, especially their nano cell ones.
Okay.
Um, they no longer feel like they can compete in
Okay.
the cell phone market. So it was really interesting to find that out, especially like what Meek's saying is like a lot of people buy LG phones, but I guess like
It's selected. It definitely
yeah,
depends on the demographic. I'm in a really selective location for sure.
right,
Oh yeah.
right. So I guess them trying to compete with Samsung and Google, I guess at this point, it's just not working.
And Apple, yeah.
Yeah, so like now I guess they're turning all of their resources. It's not like they're shutting down like everything, like they're gonna cut anything. They're relocating those resources now to their other because they
Hmm.
create everything. They got monitors, they got
Yeah.
uh,
Washer,
washers,
dryer.
dryers, and
Yeah.
fridges and everything else you can think of. Like they probably have everything. So it
Yeah.
sucks to see LG get out because like I said, they have been such a
Yeah.
huge impact to the cell
I was
phone
gonna
market.
Well,
say,
and
yeah,
that's the thing. A lot of retailers just feel like they stopped selling them too.
yeah.
Like I try to go to a Verizon store and they won't even
'Cause
sell me
LG
anything that isn't like two models.
Right.
LG
Yeah, exactly. It's
that flip phone that had two touchscreens that it looked like a T. Like when you open it, it had like one phone on top of the other. It was
oh,
like
the LG Wing. Yeah, I know
yeah,
what you're talking
yes,
about.
yes,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was pretty dope. Like
Yeah.
that's different.
The thing is, it's not the specs are just like awful. It is the concept is really dope, but it's not that good of a phone though.
No, yeah, it's because they're like they were never scared to try something.
No.
Never.
Yeah, for
They're like,
sure.
will this sell? I don't know. Let's try
Right?
it.
It looks cool.
The
All
LG
right, which one, guys?
I used to love that the commercials for the chocolate.
That's yeah. Their phones back in the day before touchscreens became a thing too.
Sure,
Were
they had some cool stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah. Any last thoughts or anything you guys want to talk about before we close out this week's episode?
Nope. Glad to be back finally, though.
Absolutely, for
Yeah,
sure.
feels definitely good. Now,
Hopefully we can get a little earlier in the day because I think we're gonna lose our demographic quick.
Yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
was just gonna say.
definitely my bad. My like work schedule is probably going to be.
Sauce me, yeah, I'm glad I made it. 'Cause I barely get any sleep with this damn dog.
I bet. Definitely bet. But yeah, let's definitely close it out. Just want to thank all the viewers that did show up, all like one of you guys, and then for everybody check us out later on YouTube, it definitely appreciate the support. Like Roger said, it's good to be back, so be on the lookout for that. It's definitely live every Thursdays, whether 7 o'clock or 9 o'clock. We're still going to have a different schedule right now because of work schedule. For me primarily because you guys are both good.
Yeah,
But definitely help us by sharing the content as much as possible. But Miko, where can we find you at?
Y'all can find me at Meek Sweat, all one word, on pretty much any platform: Twitch, Facebook, Instagram. Mainly, I like Instagram. I'm always posting funny shit. But hell yeah.
What about you, Roger?
In my basement, just chilling. Oh, I'm sorry. Twitch.tv/lunaticoblivion. That's with an A, not an O.
Yes, sir. Me, you can check me out at Twitter at Mr. Never Chillin _, Xbox X Never Space Chillin, Facebook Vic Brewwalker. If you have any questions, want to come on the show, hit me up. Also, check out the talk show also on the YouTube channel, Talk Show with Vic, every Friday at about 7 or 9 o'clock as well. So be on the lookout for that. But thanks again to everybody, and until next time, peace.
Peace out, guys.